This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, John Bellotti Jr. returns to help us review the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale on Disney Plus and the new Mortal Kombat movie.
Geek Boner.
Plus, we got the results of this year's Academy Awards and a bunch more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, April 26th, 2021.
Can I sing the song? Jockin' and nerdin'. Spoiler alert. Jock and nerdin'. That's the theme song. I sang it.
Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. Jockin', be nerdin'. Be funny, disturbing. We jockin', be nerdin'. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
What's up, listener? How's it going? Welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast, where we always give you comic book and superhero, TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
And joining us is a guy whose fatality involves giant killer hoagie sandwiches. It's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
Get over here, sandwich.
Finish my sandwich.
Yes.
Put some mustard over here. I think that's really bad. Okay, also
Etality.
God.
Wow.
Lame. Not funny.
Also joining us is a guy known on sets as Johnny Highgloss, but you may know him as our Facebook group admin. It's John Bellotti Jr. What's up, Bellotti?
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm back.
Always glad to have you.
Geek Boner.
The John Bellotti
How did
opinion.
you get on so fast?
Yeah,
so,
this is
like,
unreal.
Yeah, it's never like this.
like back to back almost.
You were just
Yeah.
on for Godzilla vs. Kong, and we find ourselves reviewing a movie that's kind of similar to Godzilla vs. Kong a little bit, don't we?
Well, we found out. I said, I think I said, let's not wait as long, and we brought
And
a
that you're
Mortal.
not a Godzilla guy.
Yeah, and I said I do. No, it was I was like, I'm not just Godzilla. And then when I found out it was Mortal Kombat, I said, yeah, I spent a lot of money at the arcades playing. Like, that's my favorite fighting
There we
game
go.
of all time. So.
There we
Perfect.
go. You are perfect for this. But another thing I need to find out is what you thought about Disney Plus's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let's just dive in. We are here to review the 6th and final episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Here are your spoilers.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Because we didn't get to hear your opinions last time you were on the show. You ducked out, you ducked in, you ducked out.
That's what I do. I bob and weave. Gotta
Ninja
catch me.
Bellotti. Yeah. We caught you, and I tied
He's
him
like Chuck
to-
Wepner.
Chuck Wepner.
I don't-
Wow,
I-
the fat balding guy with the bad mustache from Bayonne. That's nice. Not Andrei Arlovsky, the pit bull, but
No, Chuck Wepner.
Chuck.
What do they call him? The brawler from Bayonne or
The
something?
Bayonne bleeder.
The Bayonne bleeder. Yeah.
Is that from
You know what
wrestling?
though? He went the distance, so yeah, I'll take it.
Look at this, Imran. Is that wrestling?
Is that wrestling?
No, it's boxing.
boxing?
Lame.
Oh.
He's the story that Rocky's inspired.
Oh,
Yeah.
that Chuck Wepner. Okay, I think I
Chuck
have
Wepner.
heard about
What
that.
other Chuck Wepners do you know?
He was thinking about Judge Wapner.
I was thinking the game show host. Yeah, Charles Wapner.
Judge Wapner.
No, Judge Wapner.
Yeah, Cardi B's WAP. That's what I was thinking about. So look, we got Wepner here for 9 rounds.
Bayonne bleeder is out.
The Bayonne leader. This episode is called One World, One People. Anthony, what the fuck happened in the finale of The Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Lots of different things. Sam becomes Captain America and decides to stop the Flag Smashers from trying to blow up the GRC or do some shit. And he's got to stop them along with the help of Bucky and Sharon Carter. And that's about it.
And things come to a head.
And then lots of things go all sorts of ways. So
Conclusions are rushed to some kind of ending. Bellotti, look, let's just start with you. What did you think of this finale? Did it stick the landing? And what do you think of the series overall?
You know, I was really excited about this one, and I think I talked about it earlier that this is the one I really wanted to see. Yeah, totally. But then when I saw it, I just kind of felt that, like, the whole Sharon Carter thing, like, I'm still processing her as the power broker. I understand that she turned her back on the country, like the country did her dirty, and then she was just like, she sort of leaned into this criminal thing. But like, I was into it up until episode 3, which was basically like John Wick / a 90s Van Damme action movie, like Double Impact, because that's what it kept reminding me of Double Impact or some other Van Damme 90s action movie. And like everything was sort of set up to just move the plot along. Like, oh, Zemo happens to be rich and he happens to have a plane, and then he puts on his mask for 2 seconds. And then, so after that episode, I felt like things started to get a little wonky, especially with Sharon Carter. But I will say the production values are incredible. The acting was really good. The directing was really good. The action stuff was unbelievable. The sets were unbelievable. Overall, I liked it. I liked it more than WandaVision. I think it stuck the landing. I think it did what it was supposed to do. But like I said, it was like whenever Sharon Carter was on screen, I was like, oh, God. And even Zemo, to a certain extent, he was a little shoehorned in, but then I liked what they did with the Dora Milaje. I thought that was really cool. But I mean, like I said, like the last episode was good. Like the speech was good. And, you know, I don't know, John Walker getting a pat on the back was a little weird. And like, how did he get to New York so fast? Like, wasn't he just in DC? And then they're rapping like, and then he gets the new costume in the same place where they had his trial.
The court, the almost court martial. Yeah.
And I understand that COVID affected the production. So maybe I was like, let me give them the benefit of the doubt. And maybe they needed less people on set. And maybe they couldn't get to a certain location because the world was on fire at the time. So it was just a lot of question marks I had. But overall, I give it like a 7 out of 10.
Just Jesus Christ! Oh yeah, let's talk about Mortal Kombat.
Well, we can wrap it up now.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening.
Kombat, please.
He's really got to go.
He's like, I just want to talk about Mortal Kombat.
Can we talk about Liu Kang and how he looks? No, go ahead.
Anthony, what'd you think? Was it satisfying? Did it do what it needed to do?
Do you want me to talk about the finale or just the overall show? Plus, like, where do you want me to go? Because I have a lot of thoughts.
Oh boy, let's start with this finale, with this episode,
Okay.
and then we can broaden it into the overall experience.
Okay. I felt like the finale was a bit of a disappointment. As we kind of discussed going into it, there was a lot of threads coming into this finale, and 6 episodes, I think, was too short.
Yeah.
Now we can definitely say that now that the show is over. I think this kind of ties overall with just the overall show and what I've been saying weekly, but the finale being about the Flag Smashers and the GRC, and that being the main storyline throughout the entire show, I think was a miss on their part. I don't think I never connected with the GRC, the Flag Smasher conflict. Someone pointed this out in a YouTube review, but we've been told in Endgame that the blip was this traumatic thing, and like cities were in ruin after it. And now we have this group of people that are like terrorists, but are saying the blip was awesome.
Yeah.
But we're never told.
Without showing it.
We're only told that the blip was better.
Yeah.
And we're only told that the GRC has been like overbearing and moving people. We never see the GRC do anything really bad to them.
Yeah.
We never see the Flag Smashers enjoying life during the blip. So we have really no concept of understanding them. So that being the driving conflict really, I think, hurt the show for me. I liked all the character stuff. I had some problems with some of the character stuff in the last episode. I feel like John Walker's turn was a little quick. I felt like Sam did really well. I liked Isaiah Bradley's him and Isaiah Bradley. I thought were awesome. Bucky got his conversation, which got super shortchanged with that Japanese man. I thought that should have been just as impactful as Isaiah Bradley and Sam.
That was just tagged on at the end of
that was. I mean, the way they edited that too was just like
they screwed Bucky over. They screwed Bucky over a lot.
Yeah, he kind of got sidelined.
Bucky kind of got. I think overall, if I'm just going to give a quick thought, and then we can dive into like everyone else's thoughts and different examples. But I think overall, I liked the show. Don't get me wrong. I liked WandaVision better, much better actually.
Wow.
I think the character stuff for Falcon and Winter Soldier is the best stuff they had.
Yep.
John Walker, Sam, Isaiah Bradley, I think is their best stuff. The big problem for me is the main plot thread never connected. And now in hindsight, I think the Flag Smashers should have been the side thread.
Walker should have been the main one.
Yes, they should have built towards Walker being the main threat, and not even like him being like necessarily bad, but him just being so on edge. Like it would have been
needed that.
Super awesome to have the 6th episode ending, or whatever, the finale if it was more, ending with Black Cap, Sam Cap versus White Cap, John Walker.
Oh my God.
A Cap versus Cap, like something where like, John Walker kills you. Maybe you have that episode 4 end with like episode 5, and then they confront John Walker, and it's like in public. John Walker's like on edge, trying to like help things, but he's obviously off the rails. And you have Sam there as Captain America. Like that would have been. It's clear now that John Walker was the character that this should have revolved around as far as the main conflict.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point. And
that's my
the only
thoughts.
problem is he's got a shitty, useless shield that can't do shit. So that fight would have ended very quickly. Ruggs, thoughts on this last episode?
The last episode was a little disappointing for me, but I think overall, like, WandaVision was just okay for me. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was good. I think the same way about this. I feel the same way about this show. The only thing that I like the show more for is that there was a lot of action, and the action was well done.
Yeah.
I think that the costume that Sam gets at the end is terrible.
You don't like it? I thought it looked sick.
I think overall, all the costumes look terrible in this show.
Okay.
I think U.S. Agent's costume looks like shit. I think
WandaVision had better costumes.
Yeah, I mean, they had one. They had to do
Only one.
Well, they had like White Vision and then her and like a couple.
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
So that gets the edge on that. So overall, yeah, everything that Anthony said, I could pretty much just say the exact same thing. I feel like that the Flag Smash, like you have 3 big bads, and then you got John Walker. So you got you got Sharon Carter, you got the fucking Zemo, and then you got the Flag Smashers, and Zemo. I feel like, yeah, he didn't really need to be in this at all. I mean,
he stole the show with his dancing. That's what. That's the one thing.
He didn't need to be in it. They put him in there so they can get a shot of him in the mask for 2 advertising.
seconds. Yeah.
So he didn't need to be in there at all.
Yeah.
So you have that way. The Power Broker, that's interesting because at least that's tied to the Flag Smashers. But what is the Power Broker? What are they trying to do? What is the purpose of getting these super soldiers? Is this muscle for the Power Broker so they could broker more power or whatever it is that they're doing?
It was Sharon all along, people.
Yeah. So nothing really made sense even at the end. Like I was like, okay, we're finally going to find out. And then the only thing that actually sheds light on any of this is the speech that they have Sam give at the end that kind of puts it all in perspective.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, it's like it's doing all the heavy lifting of the show.
It's the point of the whole series is like right there in those.
You find out everything just by his monologue.
Yeah. Yep. And so there's more in that little speech that he gives. Like his speech at the end is like basically ties up the entire show. He talks about the racism, talks about this, talks about that, talks about what it's like to be Captain America and John Walker's story. All that is in that one speech. And felt it to be a little much because it didn't. If they would have done the story correctly, you don't need that speech. So the fact that that's there, I mean, for a lot of people, everybody loves it because it says so many things, but you don't need to say that in this if you tell it in the actual thing.
I'm glad he had that moment though, because the first time watching it, the speech is impactful and meaningful. But you're like, but
it didn't have to be like
just recap the whole point of the show right here.
Yeah, it was like.
Well, the show starts off with him giving the shield away,
right,
and then he sort of figures out along the way that he has to take the mantle, right? He watches John Walker. He watches what's going on.
Isaiah Bradley opens his eyes.
Opens his eyes, and then he sort of quietly makes a decision and then goes on and on and on with this speech. And it's a good speech. And, of course, everybody happened to be filming it at the same time.
Right.
Everybody in his life happened to be watching this at the same time because no one's, like, out doing their laundry or anything. So everybody just happens to watch it.
I was walking my dog.
Yeah, no one's walking their dog at that exact moment or... So like I'm watching, I'm like, this is a good speech, but like Steve Rogers didn't even get a speech like this in any movie, Yeah, I mean, he got little things, but what they did well in the movies is that he always had little things that he said over a course of movie. How many movies? Like 10+ years,
right?
So you had 6 episodes, and Sam, they could have, like Rug Boy's saying, they could have had Sam. They could have peppered it with stuff that Sam would say or do or feel throughout the entire series.
The comparison that I make as of an unnecessary speech is like the same at the end of Rocky IV, where he's like, if you can change, then I can change.
But that's funny.
Yeah, that's a
It's the
comedy.
same fucking thing.
It's practically a sci-fi comedy movie. You can't really compare.
Yeah,
but no, I know what you're saying.
It doesn't need to be there, the speech.
He kills Russia in Rambo 3, and then he's telling Russia, "We're gonna be cool." And Rocky
Imran,
4.
you reacted surprised to Ruggs' comment. I have to admit too, I wanted to love it, but when Falcon first busted through the window, I laughed. I paused it and like laughed out loud just because I think it's just like I think the white doesn't really work, and I also don't think the white like cowl that like comes up halfway his head and like shows his ears. I know that's comic accurate, but I just don't think it translates well on screen.
He had a little bit of the Michael Keaton Batman suit going on. I noticed he looked really stiff and uncomfortable in it.
I think if you would have made it blue, I think it just works better. But I don't know about the white, too much white.
I'll tell you, like on set, like the first thing we have to do is age down anything that's white.
Yeah,
and then I saw
white.
this white costume, and I said, "Oh man, I don't know. It's like Power Ranger." Kind of.
Yeah.
So I liked it because it was comics accurate, but the joke on the internet is like, why wouldn't he cover his head? Why doesn't he have something on his head? But I remember the suit from like 2014 when this happened in the comics, and it was just kind of a nice moment to see him realize. But it could be a little more streamlined. I will agree with that. It was a little bulky.
The other question I had is he got it from
Wakanda.
Now, is he augmented? Like, is he physically augmented? Like,
I think the wings are vibranium. So you'll notice that I love how you kind of see how the shield and the wings both, there's room for him back there. And then that move where the helicopter is falling on the bridge and he uses the wings and the shield as a barricade and it bounces off of him. I was like, oh fuck, that's useful. So
yeah, that's cool. No, I said I like that a lot. I mean, look, Black Panther's suit is like practically like skin. It doesn't need to be as bulky as the suit that they gave him.
Plus, he has superhuman abilities because he ate that plant.
Yes.
But Sam is like,
they should have given him some of that plant too.
Like, if I was Sam, I'd be like, you better give me that fucking serum because
I don't see the plant in here. Where's the fucking plant? I'm supposed to eat an herb. No,
They just
I
give
think
him they just give him a Wakanda brownie, and he just eats it.
Like, wait
like
30
Jack.
minutes before after you eat this, you'll feel it. Don't worry. It's got to hit your bloodstream. So overall, my thoughts got kind of the same as you guys the last episode. I was kind of like just whelmed, not overwhelmed, maybe a little underwhelmed. I think that everything that's great is what you said. The cast, the fucking special effects, the production, the issue lies in the pacing and the writing. I love your idea, Anthony. John Walker definitely should have been like the main bad guy. He was way more interesting than they made these.
He should have been the you would have. It should have been like Flag Smashers are the bad guy, but then as the show goes
His
on,
arc
you're like,
is happening.
oh wait a minute,
Yeah.
like kind of like America is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, we're fucked.
he shows up at the end to help him. I'm like, wait, so now he's cool
So
with
that
them?
didn't make any sense either. So there's a lot of clunky things that happen.
There's a lot of things that don't make sense.
A lot of things that don't make sense. I will say one thing. Now watching all 6 of them, I wish one thing maybe that could have helped is that Disney decided to drop all 6 at once instead of a weekly release. I kind of want to watch it back all straight through. Maybe it's a better experience. I don't know. But I feel like watching these chunks of a movie, which is why I appreciated WandaVision was a little more TV episodic and they used the episodes better.
I don't know. I know what you're saying because I felt like that too, where I told my wife, I was like, we really need to binge this because I really forgot stuff from the last week. But
I think the binge is going to work.
Walker was definitely my favorite part. And it's unfortunate because they heavily touched on racism in America and they kind of touched on PTSD in soldiers because the suicide rate among veterans is insanely high and the stuff that they deal with sort of gets forgotten. And I thought that, like, when he says to the panel, he goes, I only did what you programmed me to do.
You made me.
And I was like, wow, that's really powerful stuff. And then he kind of like, they just sort of forget about it. And then they go back to the racism stuff, which is fine because that's Falcon's story arc, but that was also...
It needed more episodes. There was too many things they were trying to juggle.
Yeah, it needed to be longer. And Walker, like, every time he was on screen, he was so compelling to watch. And like that dichotomy of him of being traumatized and then talking to Battlestar about taking the serum, like it said so much about his character. And I just wanted to see more of that. I
think it's also something about like the fact that he is a good soldier and he does follow orders and he does the thing that every fucking army general wants.
Yep.
Like, every government wants someone like him. But the minute that they make him look bad, they just fucking wipe the floor with him.
The thing is, though, he's the guy that will also follow orders, even though it may be ethically wrong and it may involve just not the right thing, but he will still blindly follow
but
those
that's
orders.
what the military
That's what they
wants.
want. Yes, that's what Val wants. They want somebody, but you don't want a guy who has PTSD to get this serum. It's just going to enhance your PTSD.
Right. Well, but that was the thing that was most interesting, I think, about him is like he was a little on edge. He was like, you could say he's a good guy. Like he's trying to do the right things, but he's also has PTSD. He also is like trying to impress. He also has a huge ego. Like he's everything that like the Flag Smashers, because they kept trying to make the Flag Smashers this conflicted character as well. Yeah. Like one episode they were like, they have a speech where Carla, the guy that eventually dies at the hands of John Walker, says that Carly could have been the next Captain America. And I'm like, that's a strong thing to say. We never seen her do anything.
That's a good point.
That's going to make us think she could have been a Captain America. Like, show us something like that. Like, the only thing they showed us was like, oh, she hangs out with these little refugees. Oh, Mama Donia died. Wait, why am I supposed to care that Mama Donia died?
Yeah, who was this lady?
But it's just so callous to be like that this person or these people are like, no, all the people that died should have just stayed dead, and all these families that are fractured and destroyed. So it's like, yeah, everybody has hardships, but you're choosing, your own over someone else's or half the world's. It just seems weird.
They never showed us why. No. They never showed us why we should sympathize with them.
I did love that moment where, Walker first shows up and she's like, look, I think she's sincere. She's like, I didn't mean to kill your partner. His life means nothing to me over my cause.
When he first shows up and yells, Morgenthau.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit.
Fuck yeah. He's exactly the wild card I wanted to see.
But then quickly.
They did but they do the close-ups on him and they're playing that weird music where he's like conflicted. Yeah. I'm like, this is fucking perfect. Like, this is spot on. He's a fucking crazy guy. He doesn't know what to do. Even when he saves the truck, I'm like, okay, like, fine. But I still don't want them to accept him.
No, and they're all buddy. They're making fucking jokes at the end. Have we forgotten this guy killed somebody and almost killed Sam and Bucky just last episode and was court-martialed?
I'm willing to see how it plays out because I still enjoy the character, quick. But I don't like the turn.
It was too clunky.
I think that Bucky would have sympathy for him because Bucky's been a tool of governments, and he's been
that's true.
He kind of knows that it's not as easy as. There's only one Steve Rogers, as they say, and Sam is trying hard to kind of toe the line in the middle and kind of be that middle ground for everybody, and have a dialogue with terrorists and try and convince the world that they're not terrorists when they totally are terrorists.
Yeah.
And they needed something to make us see that they're not, and they didn't provide us with that.
But they kind of were, weren't they? In the end, it's like if you look at everything they did, you're like, wait a minute.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why it never made sense that Sam was like making all these overtures to them, and we never understood why.
Like, what's the allegory? Do you think that the Flag Smashers are? Are they like, okay,
just displaced refugees? I was thinking like people that like come here illegally, like have come in like not done anything wrong. They've just come here illegally, and then like the government's like, oh no, you came here 20 years ago illegally. Even though you've been a great citizen, paid taxes, get the fuck out.
Well, that's what what's his name? War Machine Rhodey. He talks about that in the first episode. He said alliances are switched, borders are out of or switched. They talk about it, but he's so vague because Marvel tends to not get too political in their films, which is why because the fact that like my wife likes Marvel films and my mother-in-law and regular people, because it's so broad and they make things funny and everybody accepts it, and that's how they get the whole world to pay money to see these movies. But where it suffers is where they don't go into political stuff, or they'll like I said, they'll lean into the racism, but they won't lean into the political side of it. Like, what are these borders? Is it North Korea? Is it Iraq? Is it Iran? Like, what countries are we talking about here? Like, is it China? Like, what? We don't know anything.
Yeah, I think that's why it was surprising that like this show they did lean into like
the race issue.
Isaiah Bradley and Sam like very much being like America has done some fucked up shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was really
so like Why wouldn't they lean into everything? I don't know.
It's a lot.
It was just. I think it was just 6 episodes. I think writing 6 episodes.
I enjoyed that Red Wing was back. That was cool to see him back, and that was a sick move that he did. I love that Sam actually does something. He becomes Captain America, and he makes change. He gets Isaiah's story added to the exhibit. He unerases him.
That's the biggest win out of the whole show.
That's amazing.
But I wish we would have seen, because it just kind of happens and it's magic.
Yeah.
I would like to see the process
How hard
of that.
it probably was for him to do it.
Like I would have loved to see him be like, go up and roll up into like Congress or wherever the fuck he needs to talk to and be like, yo, what the fuck's going on? I found this out and this is bullshit. And then that would have been cool just to see that, not even the whole argument of that, just to see that like, oh, he went in there and he did that. And I would love to see that and them try to explain themselves.
Well, now maybe he
squirm
can
in their seats, you know?
Yeah, he could just get things done now because he's Captain America and now they're going to listen to him. I don't know.
Well, he just proclaimed himself to be Captain America. Right?
I mean, he wasn't. He was kind of forced to be, really. If you think about it.
I have to admit, for that last episode, first off, I actually thought the action in this last episode was filmed really poorly.
Oh, wow.
Especially in comparison to the rest of the show.
Yeah, 100%.
The quick cuts. Couldn't really tell what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't think the extended scene with Sam and the helicopter was all that necessary when you had so much left to tie up. But the dialogue, too, like everything about this last finale, I felt like was written by different people, because like the finale at one point Sam's there and the guy's like, that's Black Falcon, man, and the guy goes, no, that's Captain America. And it's like, come on, like Marvel. I know Marvel can be cheesy, but I don't remember them being that cheesy in the MCU with stuff like that felt like out of like Sam Raimi Spider-Man type shit.
If they would have had an old white guy say that's Captain America, it'd be funny.
It was like Stan Lee was alive and they used him. Oh my god, that would have been great.
Well, it's
some of it's like it was just all over the place. Go ahead.
It's also not Marcus and McFeely writing this stuff either.
Yeah.
And I like when the finale came, like the episode that the finale premiered, they announced, oh, there's a new Captain America movie coming out with the same writer that did the show. And I was like, oh, man.
Well, look, Malcolm Spellman is the head writer. He didn't write on all the episodes, but it was kind of his vision. So I like that they're giving him a Captain America 4 with Sam.
I'll say I liked Malcolm Spellman's. You can clearly see, this is stupid. I mean, this is kind of dumb to say, but you can clearly see like he's black, right?
Yeah.
Like his perspective is very like it pervades through the show of like the black experience in America. So I appreciated that, but I felt like not everything. Like there's some moments in there where I'm like, this is gold, but then there's some moments in there where I'm like, this is really clunky. So hopefully, like him not writing a series and maybe a movie is like a different process, and maybe he can kind of wrap that up a little bit better.
Speaking of clunky, let's get to Sharon Carter, who pops up. She ends up killing Carly and Batroc. So Walker doesn't even get the kill on Carly. Those are the only two. And it was an obvious reveal. And everybody was like, she's the power broker. And I was like, last week, I was like, I hope they don't do this. It's too fucking obvious. And they fucking did it. So that was a little disappointing. And then the post-credit scene was almost like a shrug. She gets pardoned. She gets her job back at the CIA. And then she's like, oh, I got shit to sell now. I'm power brokering up.
I hate it.
Yeah. I think she's a Skrull.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. None of this.
It doesn't make sense. If she's the power broker, she shouldn't be helping them.
That's a big fuck up right there.
Why did she?
She's already lost. She's already lost the super soldier serum. She should be out of the game.
She put all of this in motion. Why?
I hate it because Ruggs, you make a good point. You know why they lost the super soldier serum? Because she fucking led them to
she showed them what it was.
The damn golden goose, the scientist. That makes no sense why she would be the power broker and lead Zemo, knowing that Zemo hates terrorists or hates super soldiers. She would lead Zemo to her golden goose. Like, it's just such a wild turn for that character. I'm willing to see how it plays out. Maybe I'll change my mind as like things get revealed. But as of right now, I fucking hate it. And her like reveal at the end where she just shows up and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm here."
Yeah.
They're not looking for me. Then it's like, okay, they're not. First off, you're just in New York. You were like a wanted person. Right. Now you're in New York. And then her explanation goes, well, they're not looking for me. And then it's like, well, then why were you wearing the fucking fake face?
To fake out Bucky?
If they're not looking for you.
I don't know, to make him...
And then it's just like, Bucky's just like, whoa, okay. And then it's like so quick.
It is so... It's so many rushed things in this episode kind of got annoying. And so you'll notice she's using the same kind of green mercury vapor shit they were using because she supplied him with all of it. So, but yeah, that was not,
Lame.
I did not enjoy that.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Tony. When everyone praises Marvel for being true to the comics, but they're really not. I mean, like in the books, the power brokers are like some corporate guy. Same thing with,
he's 50 Cent. He's Curtis Jackson.
Yeah, his name is Curtis Jackson.
Take you to the
They
candy
should have
shop.
got 50 Cent to play him. How awesome would that? Oh my god,
Right there.
that would have been great.
even Flag Smasher. Flag Smasher is like one
Is a
dude
person,
that's like
not a group.
anti-patriot,
Yes,
and then
yes.
they made this like a whole movement of people.
Yeah,
You know,
I didn't mind that
it's-
idea. They could have fleshed it out a little better.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
I'm just thinking about 50 Cent and how he bought vitamin water and he just wanted to step it up a notch and you get super soldier water.
He puts yes, that's a great idea. He starts selling it in like energy drinks, super soldier serum, 50 Cent. I'm Curtis Jackson. All right, let's talk about Bucky because he is the titles, half of the fucking title of the show. I feel like he got a little bit sidelined. We did see him
Towards the end,
get closure with the Japanese guy.
Oh man, they edited that so poorly. That should have been a conversation.
That should have been huge, a huge thing, emotional
it was
thing.
It was like the way they edited it was like a montage.
Yes,
of
the
him,
end
like,
of this
walking
episode was
in.
just montage. Yes.
Oh, I killed him, and he's like, "Oh, you did?" And then it's like he gives a knowing nod to them, and it's like, what? Not like who you're
guy
nodding to the server? Like, does that mean he's at peace? You've been like hanging out with this guy. If I were that man, and I've been like, wait a minute, I've been hanging out with my son's murderer, for months.
Yeah, the man's like, that's cool. You told me,
but and now I'm like cool with this.
Yeah,
I would have just opened it up with like, listen,
doesn't
I
make
just
sense.
need you to know something. I'm the Winter Soldier, and I was brainwashed, and when I was, your son was collateral damage, and I've been trying to figure out a way to tell you this for all this whole time.
Well, we assume that's what he said, right? Because he goes,
but it's just. It doesn't say that, so it's just.
But that's what this show does horribly is that they make you do a lot of the thinking, right? You have to sort of plug all the holes that
you gotta jump
because like
points,
that. It's the easiest thing to write. Isn't that an easy thing to write?
Yeah.
You're like, hey, listen, I'm the Winter Soldier. I'm programmed to kill people, and I didn't mean for this to happen. I'm sorry. And actually have that emotive conversation, and they just kind of gloss over it, and that's because they don't know how to go about writing it, I think, or they don't want to spend the time.
I think you're definitely right. It's easy to write, and not only is it like easy to write, but it's gold. Like it's television. It's like conflict served up on a platter that like will tug at your heartstrings no matter what.
And that
they
was
just glossed over it.
That was that was a common thread throughout the show was like Bucky's past. Like you remember the end of Mandalorian. How long and drawn out that ending was, where he hands off Grogu.
That was so great. That's what this needed. That's what this fucking show needed. This episode,
you know. And like you're sitting there and you're just crying like a baby. And when he talks to that guy, I started tearing up. I'm like, oh man, this is like powerful shit. And then it cuts away and it sort of stole the moment from you. I'm like, well, all right,
yeah,
that's what I mean.
I was
like
very disappointed in that.
That's another thread. Like I said, they focused on one thread. You know, they focused on Sam's story and not enough on anyone else. They only give you like just enough.
They needed maybe like 2 more episodes, or maybe
I think
10
so.
episode season.
I think they didn't want anyone to have the spotlight more than Sam.
Right.
Well, yeah, because I mean they changed the title of the show at the end.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
that was
but
great.
he's not the Winter Soldier anymore. He's Bucky, right?
Right. So, but what do you call it? Captain America and Bucky does not sound as cool as Captain America and the Winter Soldier. But you're right; they should have changed his name too. Is he on the run now? This was what was unclear. Like he can hang out with them at the dock. We see him hanging out at the boat, but
no, he's not on the run.
Technically,
so.
he's just. So where does he go?
The first episode, they established that he's gotten a pardon for everything he's done.
Is he gonna go and make more amends and more closure?
They were like, it's cool that, I mean, hey, look, I know you killed every important figure in the last century, but you helped us fight Thanos, so here.
Well, you brought back half the universe. So I guess
you brought back half the universe. You brought back the half you didn't kill.
We'll give you that.
I guess it's.
Well,
cool.
I mean, he gives away the book. He gives the book like it's not. Yeah. It's symbolic of him not needing to necessarily dwell on his past anymore and make like he can move forward with his life. But I agree that Bucky was shortchanged, especially towards
and
the end
also physically, like he is not only a super soldier, but he is enhanced with that Wakandan shit.
Yeah.
And he gets like thrown around all over the place.
A lot. He got
He's
beat
not
up.
a badass.
He got beat up a
And
lot.
they purposely do that to kind of give the shine to other people. So it's fine. But I just feel like it's like when you have a whole movie and the best Marvel movie about how this guy cannot be stopped and Cap can't stop him. Everybody's stopped. Black Panther can't stop him. He's running, chasing a moving car and doing all this crazy shit in the 2 movies that he was the Winter Soldier badass in. And then in this show, he kind of like gets his butt.
He just gets tossed around everywhere.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd like to think because originally he was programmed to kill. Period.
That's a
You know
good
what I
point.
mean?
Yeah.
And when you're having to toe the line, you're sort of pulling your punches and, you're
When emotion
He's
is
been
involved.
yeah, when you have
programmed.
emotion. That's what I like to think.
That's
it
a
is.
good point. I like that.
That's a good excuse.
Yeah, it's a good excuse.
I mean, it's something. I'm digging here.
No, but
I'm digging deep.
I'll
digging
allow
here.
it. I'll allow it. Sustained.
What did you
All right.
think of the quick forced scene of Zemo at the raft, still cleaning up, killing the rest of the super soldiers? I guess they're all dead now.
That's cool, but I just don't understand how he went from being a soldier with the family in what was it, Civil War, to like a rich baron.
He was always rich. We
But
just
did they
didn't
ever
know.
really say that?
No.
In the other?
They said it
in
here.
the show, they said it.
So it's like it was a convenient,
Very
story
convenient. Red
That's what I mean. I was like,
whatever.
wait, he's rich? Did they ever
barely
talk
an
about that?
inconvenience at all for Zemo.
I didn't really like it because again, everything was just felt so
Yeah,
rushed and
yep,
not
yep.
written by the same team because they break out the Flag Smashers, they go one world, one nation, or no borders, or whatever their fucking their thing is. So it's like, oh, they're going to still be around. And then it's like, boom, they're dead. And it's like, and Baron von Zemo, or Zemo's butler sitting there, is like, how did he know that would be the spot to kill him? Like,
That's what I mean.
how did he know?
You gotta fill it in.
How did they know that not only that would be the spot, but
The
that
transport was going to be there.
that the transport would diverge?
Oh, yeah.
Like these would be run by flag smashing transporters, and then it was just like, oh, the mental gymnastics here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like a J.J. Abrams movie. You got to go home and do the homework.
And I'll agree. Anthony, you said the action in the beginning, now I was thinking about originally, was very clunky because when like the hostages were going downstairs and upstairs, and like it was hard to follow.
It was just too many cuts.
Yeah,
like every
where are
time
we going?
you never really got to see when Sam's fighting Batroc and when they're just like cutting.
Why was
they're
Sam
doing the shaky cam
wasting
too much.
time fighting Batroc when there's fucking hostages? He should have just took off. Like, he can't follow you. Like, that didn't make sense.
Did he even finish that fight? He
He just left. But I was like, why are you wasting time with him anyways? But
Yeah.
So do you think Batroc's dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
He's dead? Jesus. They just took up fucking...
Why would you need Batroc?
I guess you don't. He's leaping. He can kick you hard.
We got plenty of people that we can replace Batroc.
That's a good point. And Carly is I thought the actress did a great job, Ellen.
What was that's another, like, what was Carly's
No,
plan?
I never know what their plan was the whole fucking time.
But I'm talking about this, so what are you going to do?
She was going to force them to change their vote or kill them. I don't know.
My analysis is that she wanted to start a movement. It didn't matter what they did, as long as people got behind and knew that there was like people that were rising up, kind of like any kind of movement where you have someone spearheading it, doing all this stuff like V for Vendetta type shit. And then all of a sudden people start walking around with these masks on and blah, 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 So that was her end game, wasn't to actually do anything, was to get everyone to kind of...
Just to get them to open their eyes and see what's going on?
Yes. But I mean, they didn't even telegraph that well. There was just, I had to fucking figure that out on my own.
Yep. You got to do the mental gymnastics. I'm tired.
Well, she says it a few times, but I mean, like they don't really nail it home. Like, at least in fucking Batman Begins or whatever, he's like, I'm going to be a symbol that'll be ever living. And like, people will know. It doesn't matter who it is and behind the mask. I'm Batman. It's something you can't kill. They needed to do that in here. They needed to fucking make that tangible, and they didn't.
We needed more, like, with the Black Flag Smashers, because even like little things I started questioning, like going, wait a minute, this is an international terrorist group that was in Europe. Now they're in New York.
How'd they get to New York?
How'd they get there?
Slipping in with cameras.
Who's taking them? Who's flying them over? What airplanes what airlines can they get
would
on?
have fucking caught them by now.
So yeah, there's just a lot. I was very disappointed with the last episode.
All right, well, let's rate the whole series. Tell me where you thought it peaked, what your favorite episodes was, what you'd give it, and whether you liked it. We already kind of discussed better or worse than WandaVision. Bellotti, you already gave us your rating, 7.5 out of 10. We know.
I think it peaked. I think what was it? Episode 2 was a high point, and then it dipped horribly low in 3, and then it peaked again up until John Walker's climax, and then I kind of just sort of lost interest until the climax.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so I think I'll stick with 7. You know what? No, 7 out of 10. What kept me liking the show was the comedy in it, like between him and between Sam and Bucky.
Yeah, that's
that
great.
Kept me more engaged than anything else.
Could have used more of that. Them bickering like an old couple is fantastic.
Yeah,
that's
it was really
fun.
funny.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
And he hates Red Wing.
Oh, Red Wing is. I'm glad Red Wing's back because you need help sometimes with boosters to lift a fucking armored truck.
Sure.
Anthony, what did you think? Well, give us a rating.
I liked WandaVision way better.
Okay.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Again, I think the character stuff is the best stuff they've done. I think Sam and his stuff with Isaiah Bradley is the most they've pushed things in the Marvel Universe ever in terms of like dealing with making a stand on things and stuff. So I liked that. I liked Walker. I'm curious to see Walker in future stuff, even though they turned him good, but whatever, I'll let it play out. Zemo, I liked a little bit of. I liked some of Zemo. I liked Bucky. But again, the Flag Smashers being the main thing really brought down the show for me. I think the show needed more episodes. My original score was going to be 6, but I'm doing first now. I'm going to go. Usually we do half points in between. I'm going to go.
You're going to go quarter?
5.75 out of 10 for this show.
Oh, shit.
We got a quarter point. Five. You said 5?
5.75. I wanted to get into 5, but I didn't want to make it say it was a completely average show. Like, at the end of the day, I still liked it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a bad show.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give it, like, I feel like 6 means, like, is like a good recommendation. I don't want to give it, I can't necessarily think, like, it didn't, if the main thread doesn't work, the whole story kind of falls apart.
It's a good point there. It's a little bit wishy-washy with the main story. Okay, Ruggs.
Well, I liked it the same as WandaVision, pretty much. I had a much better feeling about it in the beginning, and as it started to plod on, I was like, we're never going to fucking figure out, like, who are the bad guys? Why are they bad? Or are they bad? Stop telling me that they're not bad. All right. Is she bad? Okay. Well, she's not bad. I don't know. I thought she wasn't bad. And so it was, that was me the whole time. So,
Shimon.
I didn't know. Yeah. Michael Jackson was there. Everybody was
Wesley
there.
Snipes in the subway. What's he doing here?
Yeah. You haven't been to Burger World lately? I'm fat. Anyway, no one knows what I'm talking about. Anyhow, yeah, so it kept on doing that, and the production values were good, and the action sequences overall were pretty good. There was a couple of bad ones in there. The costumes were terrible. That's the only thing I didn't like. Even though it could have used more episodes, I think that if they would have just streamlined it a little bit more, it would have. They tried to have too many moving parts and stuff, so they need to streamline it down. I love that it could have been like a 6-hour movie, and you could watch it continuously, and it kind of was made to flow that way, but I think that their pacing was a little bit messed up. They had all of these scenes of just them like hanging out, talking. And I'm like, no, you got all of this shit. Like, get to it. Yeah. Like, come on. Like, I don't. All right, we got it. You're having a conversation about this, but it's not that important right now.
We're fixing boats here.
Yeah, let's fix some fucking boats. So, I'm gonna say 6.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked what this thing needed to do, which is have this conversation about a black man taking up the Stars and Stripes and bringing Sam into the new Captain America. Like, that was the strongest thing. Every time Isaiah was on, every scene he's in is fantastic, and I think where the show is at its strongest. I thought it had a great start. The first 2 episodes were great, and I think it kind of peaked. That image of Walker with his shield over his head is like, that's the only thing that sticks out of this whole thing. I keep seeing that. Like, I'm never going to forget that. So I think it peaked there, and kind of like, the end was clunky. I liked it. I like WandaVision a little bit more than this, only because they used their episodes better. But I think had they released this all at once, 6 episodes, I know the buzz wouldn't have been there, but I feel like I wouldn't have been as frustrated. But everything you guys said, exactly the same. The cast, fantastic. It's moving things along. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And we have a new Captain America and all these pieces that I'm curious. I want to know who Val is working for, where that ends up. Will we see Eli Bradley?
Number 2 work for?
Damn, boy, what'd you eat? Will Eli Bradley, are they going to set him up? You got the Young Avengers, Elijah. Eli.
Oh, that's right.
Elijah.
Patriot.
His Patriot. Yeah, he can set up the Young Avengers. So and Zemo in the raft. Is Val going to bust him out? What's going to happen? So some of that stuff isn't, but it did need to be streamlined. It was too many things.
Well, Val's obviously working with Zemo, so. Right,
so wait, yes. Is that obvious? Why is that obvious? Because
actually, that's another one of my issues. It's so good. I didn't even think about Val. They just throw her in there.
Yeah, she just pops in
as if we're supposed to give a shit about who the fuck Val is and where she works. We have no. It's just there's this lady. Is she working with the government? Is she not? Why are they in a government building with him changing into a suit?
It's black and red and white.
It's so ambiguous, at least in my opinion, that it doesn't.
I love that Elaine is part of the MCU. That's fucking exciting. But what's
what about
Zemo working
Costanza?
for Val? Dude, if they get fucking Jason Alexander, just get all of them. Except for Michael Richards. You know what?
Who could Jason Alexander be?
Jason Alexander could
Puck.
play.
He could be Puck.
He could play
from Alpha
Puck.
Flight.
You just recast him
I
as
don't even know who that is.
Armin Zola.
Exactly.
I was going to say Armin Zola.
Armin Zola or live action MODOK.
Or he could be MODOK. You wouldn't even need to CGI him.
No,
you just have him be himself.
Practical effects. Just painted on his belly. A face. And so, yeah, I'm glad. I'm excited. It's crazy that we're at the end of the second fucking Marvel show already. Now, there's going to be a little bit of a break. Let's really quickly take a look at what's coming up ahead for the MCU.
Wait, before we do that,
Yeah.
Are we excited about a Captain America 4? It looks like that's going to happen.
Yeah, so would you rather have, this was a good question, would you rather have a season 2 to flesh this out or see Sam and them in Captain America 4? I don't know. I'm kind of leaning
Now,
towards...
is Sam just going to be Captain America, or is it always going to be this political thing?
I don't know. There's another rumor that the Chris Evans is coming back as Captain America, and that's a different separate thing.
I don't want that. I want Sam to be Captain America, but I just want him to be Captain America. Let's fucking kill some Nazis or some fucking Hydra or some bullshit. And,
Let's blow some shit up. Yeah.
Yeah, be heroic and shit.
I like Sam. I don't think he's my favorite character. He's definitely not my favorite character. I don't find him as compelling as Steve Rogers, although I like him. That being said, I do think this is going to sound like I'm trying to be woke. I do think it'd be important to have a film with a black Captain America
Absolutely.
in his own lead role, released to the masses. I think that'd be kind of cool.
That's
so
more
for that
impactful.
alone,
Yes.
I am interested in a Captain America 4 if he's going to be in it.
That's why I was kind of leaning for a movie. I feel like it's a little more impactful and will be tighter storytelling than putting it in another TV show. I want to see him in a movie now.
Because, a TV show, although these are high production values, it still screams second rate, right? If you get your own movie, that means you kind of made
But
it.
we just watched the show, which was like a Marvel movie. I mean, there was
I know, but
no
it's
holding back.
still a TV show.
But it's just on television. Yeah, yeah.
There's just a perception, in my opinion, amongst people.
Bellotti, what would you rather have?
I'd rather have a movie. It was just hard not to feel that WandaVision and this show almost felt like advertisements to get Disney Plus. And this show almost felt like, God, I think we talked about it on the show once before. Selling a black Captain America is probably a hard thing for Marvel to do because of just, kind of like what Sam feels the way it is in the show.
Yeah.
And same thing in the comic books. And it almost felt like they took the safer route to do it in a show just so people can see it and accept it. And then when the movie comes out, people go, okay, I saw this. I accept it.
It's a primer.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a primer.
It's a fluffer.
There was the thing with Zendaya being Mary Jane.
Right.
And it's is she Mary Jane or is she not?
Yeah, they played with that.
Just make her Mary Jane or don't. They kind of pussy-footed around it in a way.
She was Michelle.
Yeah. It's Michelle, so it's not her, but they called her MJ. But just make her MJ if you're going to go that route. Why?
That's a good point.
Who is Michelle? No one knows who Michelle is.
You can have, I think you can bring Chris Evans back from another universe as a Captain America. You can have two Captain Americas. We have Peter Parker, Miles Morales. They're both Spider-Man. They're both, their both names are Spider-Man. You can have two Spider-Man. You can have two Captain America. out there too.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see. I mean, I like Chris Evans. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to see. I don't want to see two Captain Americas.
I think with
around.
Loki, the Loki show and this timeline multiverse shit, like that may open up doors to like anything's fucking possible now.
Well, Bucky was Captain America.
Bucky was also Captain America. Yeah.
Yes, Sam's Captain America, and then eventually Steve.
But goddamn, dude, Sam's Captain America without the super soldier serum. You know, I think that is a important choice, and I want to see more of that. And his speech at the end was just so good. He's just like, the only power I have is that I believe we can do better. And he's like, I know everybody's going to hate me, but I'm doing this.
But do you think that it's weird when like a character that was once one character, like let's say, for example, like Dick Grayson becomes Batman.
Yeah.
You're still going to think of him as Nightwing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's Nightwing. That's who he is. It's not really, he could be Batman, but he's like dressing up as Batman. Like it's kind of weird when you have a character like become the new character. Has it ever worked out?
Well, if it's written well, you got to write it in well. That's all.
Only when they did it in like the 60s when no one gave a shit about like
I was just going to say
Green Lantern being what's that guy's name? I don't even remember, but he was like obsessed with wood or whatever. He got his power from wood, and they were like, "Oh, we're taking rid of this."
Alan Scott was the
Alan
original.
Scott, and like the original Flash was someone else. I'm really blanking.
Barry
on names.
Allen and what the fuck was his name?
Yeah, there's not
Jay
a lot
Garrick,
of examples.
Jay Garrick. Yes.
Well, I think it's one thing when you introduce a new character that's taking the mantle, but I'm saying an established hero in its own right becomes another hero.
I'm trying to think now.
Nightwing really is the best example, and Nightwing is like one of my favorite characters. And he's been Nightwing now, like I think longer than he's been Robin. So it's just
I liked when Nightwing. I mean, they didn't stick with it, but it was like intriguing when Nightwing became Batman because he wasn't brutal.
Right, it was different.
Batman,
Yeah.
he was different, and then like his Robin was Damian, who was like Batman. So it was like the roles were reversed.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it was like,
that's cool. Yeah.
So it was like
cool
Robin
idea.
was Batman and Batman was Robin. Like it was like that was cool, but they don't ever stick with it because
it always goes back.
Upset.
It always goes back to
status quo.
Okay, so now what's up next?
Doug, here's one. No, here's a good one.
Yeah.
You'll like this. When Doc Ock became Spider-Man. That was cool, right? Right?
Yeah, that was my favorite.
hot garbage.
Yeah,
and then they got and then they opened it up and had all these different Spider-Man. That was cool, right?
Finest writing. Come on.
Spider-Gwen, come on.
You can literally spit and land on a spider.
Superior Spider-Man. I was so into that when it was coming out. I was like, this is fucking crazy.
It was funny.
He was a better Peter Parker in a lot of ways than Peter Parker, in terms of setting up a foundation and business.
Oh, and then Peter Porker's cool.
Peter Parker's Spider-Ham is the best also.
I mean, when I was a little kid, I read Spider-Ham.
I bought Peter Parker comic books too. I have them still in my mom's house in boxes. I have Peter Parker comics.
As like a fucking 40-something-year-old man, I just don't see the appeal in it anymore. Sorry, I lost my fondness for Peter Parker.
It's all right.
I can see how hacky and lazy it is.
It happens. It happens.
Throw a fucking superhero costume on any fucking animal and then whatever. Lazy as fuck.
Fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's different.
Well, no, because that's at least its own thing.
Yeah. That's not derivative of.
Did you ever see a turtle? First of all, just the fucking irony of that.
Yeah.
Of a turtle that moves slow being a ninja.
Yes.
It's fun. At least it's ironic.
Yeah. So look, we've been spoiled by Marvel. We had WandaVision, and very quickly we had the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and like this plan is backwards, right? This all came out backwards, but we were supposed to get Black Widow, kind of the next thing. That is, everything's been changed. So here's technically the next thing from the MCU. It is Marvel's MODOK adult animated stop motion show on Hulu coming out May 21st.
Oh shit!
I don't think that's technically MCU. I think it's just.
But it is. I mean, it's. I think it's MCU.
I think it's its own thing. No,
it's from
I believe it's
Disney
its own
Marvel.
Thing. That's not MCU.
Okay, but it's the next Marvel show.
Yeah, it's the next new Marvel offering. But I don't think it's actually part of the MCU.
All 10 episodes will be out at once, May 21st. Did you guys get to see this trailer they put out? Anybody?
I saw something a while ago, not this new one.
There's a new one. I laughed twice. It's pretty funny. I'm kind of excited. It is the story of MODOK's life at home when he's not being an evil mastermind trying to take over the world.
I might check it out, but I probably won't like
The
it.
voice cast: Nathan Fillion, Whoopi Goldberg,
It's amazing.
Bill Hader, John Hamm,
Patton
John Daly.
Oswalt as
Patton Oswalt,
voice cast is Ben Schwartz is in this, and I maybe R-rated. I don't know if they're swearing, but this is so. If you can't wait till Loki and Black Widow, May 21st, we'll see MODOK.
We are not reviewing that weekly.
No, you can watch that on your own, listener. John, does this interest you at all? It's like Robot Chicken. It's like the Robot Chicken.
No.
No, nothing. You like
That's
it?
a hard no.
Did you like Scary Movie? Is that the type of shit that you like? Scary Movie?
You like scary
where
movies?
they take where they take like the movie and they make a funny version of it?
No, I like,
No?
yesterday I put on Loaded Weapon 1. Janine never saw it.
Oh, that one is great.
Loaded
That one is
Weapon.
really funny.
Loaded Weapon. Let me
It's a
look that
lead-
one up.
It's
That's a great
Emilio-
one.
Yeah, it's Emilio Estevez and Sam Jackson doing Riggs and Murtaugh.
Oh, it's a
Oh, it's-
National
that is-
Geographic's
that-
version of Lethal Weapon. Holy shit.
National
that is-
Lampoon's.
National Lampoon.
National Lampoon.
Yeah,
Sorry,
National.
yes.
That is the first like 20 minutes. Is hilarious.
How have I never seen this? I'm going to have to
I
watch
remember
this.
It's on
I've seen
HBO
it.
Max. It's on
Holy
HBO
I've seen
Max.
it many times.
John Lovitz, Tim Curry, Emilio Estevez, Sam Jackson, Kathy Ireland, William Shatner.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's
Bill
funny.
Nunn. Oh, I got to
John
watch this.
Lovitz. I love John Lovitz. He goes, I thought you were dead. I thought it was a sequel. I just so fucking stupid. It's so
stinks.
funny. Oh my God.
Okay, Loaded Weapon 1. How many
I
loaded
gotta watch
weapons
it.
are there, by the way?
There's only one, but they called it Loaded Weapon. They called it Loaded Weapon 1. Was the name of the movie. It's like the best of all those movies.
All right, well, that's not a Marvel movie, but MODOK is kind of Marvel. So check that out. Are you excited for this one? June 11th will be the next Disney Plus series, Loki. 6 episodes weekly. John Bellotti.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean these Disney Plus shows just feel like a lot of appetizers, so I'll watch it. I'm going to watch everything they put out. Whether I'm excited for it or not is a whole other story.
Well, then here's the crazy thing. We have 4 movies still coming out this year. I don't know if anybody's realized that. July 9th, Black Widow, Disney Plus theatrical release. We know for sure. That's amazing.
Geek Boner.
September 3rd, Shang-Chi. November 5th, Eternals. December 17th, I think, Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Shit.
We're still getting 4 MCU movies this year in the theater and somewhere else, maybe.
Bellotti, did you see the trailer for Shang-Chi?
I did. It looked like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
It did. It's not a bad thing.
It's really something. I don't know. Like whenever they make these movies, I'm just like Tony. But Tony, and like
Lame.
you're into the same kung fu movies I am. I mean, like how many times did we see a movie like this already made? You know,
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited too. Like I've always wanted to see something Yeah, like me this too. in comic books. Yeah, me too.
I mean, we're talking about martial arts movies. We're going to
It's
talk
interesting
about
that Marvel's doing their take on it.
Yep.
And if you haven't seen Raya on Disney,
I heard it's
you
pretty good.
should.
I heard it's pretty good.
It's pretty fun.
Good action. But then Disney Plus show wise, we don't have dates, but What If animated series, summer 2021. Hawkeye and Miss Marvel, I believe, are both finished shooting. So they're saying late this year. So we're going to get 3 more TV shows, 4 more fucking MCU movies. And then this news that came out ahead of that, Secret Invasion show has a crazy cast. Emilia Clarke joining, also Olivia Colman joining Sam Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn. So Mother of Dragons will be in the Secret Invasion. She'll probably be a Skrull. I think everyone's a Skrull. It's the new Mephisto.
Yeah.
Anthony, what do you think of that Emilia Clarke, Olivia Colman?
It's huge. I mean, that cast.
Those are all great.
They
great
have those 2. They have Sam Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Kingsley Ben-Adir. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they have a
Malcolm X.
legit cast.
I can't wait for that one, but that's like 2022, 2023. Who knows when the fuck that's coming out? So still a lot of great MCU content to come to enjoy. Listener, we're going to take a break here. If you want to get a t-shirt, you want to get a Jock and Nerd logo on a mug or a hoodie or a phone case, visit our shop, jockandnerd.com/shop. It's a TeePublic shop. You can buy all those lovely things, have them shipped, go out to the theaters with the Jock and Nerd face mask and t-shirt and give them one of these.
Jock and Nerd.
Right in the middle of the movie. See what happens. It's a lot of fun. We'll be right back to talk about some violent Mortal Kombat fatalities right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hello, Gerald from Two Peas on a Podcast here. So you're listening to a podcast that you love right now. Chances are I love it too. In the independent podcast community, we all support each other, which is why you're currently hearing this promo. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about my show in the hopes that maybe you'll check it out. I welcome a different co-host each week, usually other podcasters, friends of mine, or random folks from the entertainment industry. Together, we count down our top 5 favorite things for whatever that week's topic is. It's often centered around music, movies, TV, and pop culture. We have over 250 episodes spanning nearly 5 years of programming, so there's bound to be something on our feed that's just for you. We release new episodes of Two Peas every Wednesday. For links to all of our content and to subscribe via your favorite podcast app, just go to our website. It's www.twopeasonapod.com. We can't wait to welcome you to the party.
Hey, Peter here from How Do I Jump? We are an independent news, media, and entertainment outlet dedicated to bringing you all that's hot and fresh in the video game world with a definite focus on indie games. Our podcast, The Weekly Jump, rounds up all those gaming headlines and stories into a fun and entertaining hour for your informative enjoyment. Find us on Spreaker, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. For ad-free podcasts and bonus content, head to patreon.com/howdoijump. To learn more, visit howdoijump.com.
Listener, if you've been enjoying the show for a week, a day, or like 6 years, we've been doing the show for 6 years, show us your love. Join our fan club. Visit jockanerd.com/Patreon.
Jockanerd!
And for as little as $3 a month, you can get access to a bonus RSS feed for supporting us. The shows come out early. There's movie reviews, sports shows, hours of bonus audio content to keep your ear holes busy in between shows. If you want more, there it is. I did my final Falcon and Winter Soldier instant reaction. So those are fun. Check them out. jockanerd.com/Patreon. Okay, here we are. The reason Bellotti has stayed up this late to help us review Mortal Kombat. It's late for him.
It's 8:41 Eastern
yeah,
time.
That's
everyone.
fucking late.
Jesus Christ.
It's late for Bellotti. Thanks, Bellotti. Mortal Kombat 2021. Here are your spoiler alerts.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Prepare to be spoiled!
This movie currently, of course, on HBO Max for like 30 days and in theaters. It is the third Mortal Kombat movie. Following 1995 and 1997's Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which we reviewed. It was a lot of fun. On Rotten Tomatoes, this thing is sitting at 55%. Okay, 5.5 out of 10. The first movie, 44%. The second movie, 2%.
Oh, shit.
So varied ranges of scores there. This box office for this, the budget, I saw somewhere conflicting numbers. One place says 55 million, another place said like 90 million. So somewhere around there. But opening weekend makes $22.5 million in the U.S. and about the same overseas. It's sitting at $50 million worldwide opening weekend on this budget. The first movie was made for $18 million, made $124 million worldwide, $73 million in the U.S. The second movie's budget got more money, $30 million, makes only $51 million, 35 of that from the United States. So, yeah, setting a low bar for any Mortal Kombat movie you're going to make. Meanwhile, you guys are talking about Godzilla versus Kong. That thing is north of $400 million right now.
Oh, shit.
$184 million in China, and it has not opened in the UK or Japan or Brazil.
So that's going to be, I would say, altogether, it's going to probably bring it to 470.
That's going to open in May next month. So that's not bad for fucking Godzilla versus Kong.
Great. It's great.
That is a win. Back to Mortal Kombat. This movie directed by first-time director Simon McQuad. This is his first movie. Written by Greg Russo and Dave Callahan, who has written, we've talked about Dave Callahan, always screenplay writers, partners on good and bad movies, like Wonder Woman 1984. Starring Louis Tan, Cole Young. We got Jessica McNamee, Sonya Blade, Josh Lawson, Kano, Joe Taslim as Sub-Zero, McHad Brooks playing Jax. Here we go. Now the names get fun. Tadanobu Asano as Lord Raiden. Hiroyuki Sanada, this guy's everywhere, as Hanzo Hasashi or Scorpion. And Chin Han, this guy's also in a bunch of things, Shang Tsung, and Ludi Lin as Liu Kang, Max Huang as Kung Lao, Sissy Stringer as Melina, Natara, played by Mel Johnson, all these video game characters. Anthony, what the hell happens in this movie? Give us the plot. And then I'm handing it over to you guys because I realized, hey, I'm not as much into the Mortal Kombat lore as I thought I was after watching this movie. And I know Bellotti is our expert here. So what happened?
I'll start off by saying we all know Mortal Kombat, all-time game. The original movie, as a kid, even now I still look at it as like, it's not great, but still an all-timer, just in terms of relevance and like cultural impact and the
a lot of people feel that way about that first movie.
And then Annihilation, we've talked about, it's one of the worst movies you'll ever see in your life.
Absolutely.
So, this is what we're dealing with here.
Yes.
Mortal Kombat. What is this one about? This one is about this tournament that happens every year between the Netherrealm and Earthworld to determine who's the champion of the two universes. And it sounds like Netherworld has won 9 times in a row. If they win this one, they're going to take over Earth. And the champions of Earth are called upon to defend it. And one of the champions is this guy, Cole Young, who's like a down-on-his-luck MMA fighter. And he kind of gets wrapped up into this world that he had no idea existed with these enhanced beings and stuff. So it's a movie about a tournament that never happens.
That never happens, yes. That's one of my... What happened to... Okay, Bellotti, tell us your history, how far back you go in Mortal Kombat, what it means to you, and what did you think of this 2021 version?
I go back to the very first game in arcades where I remember playing it. I played it in Atomic Comics, which was up the block from us, that first one. And I remember doing Scorpion, Sub-Zero's Fatality, forward, down, forward, high punch.
Forward, down, forward, high punch.
I still remember that. Like, that's how far back I go.
Muscle memory, yeah.
Yeah, and part 2 is like my all-time favorite, just because of how colorful it was, and Kung Lao and Raiden were like my favorites in that game, and Reptile. Like, I just have like so many sentimental feelings. And I was working at a big supermarket, and I was taking out the trash there. I got like $1.25 a week. I was like 12 or 13 years old or something. And what do you think I spent all that money on? I go to the arcade and just play Mortal Kombat 2.
Can I get some quarters?
Yeah. I'd buy Electronic Gaming Monthly, and I'd learn all the fatalities.
Oh, that's where you learn the moves, in the magazine.
Yeah, or you just ask like some kid. Right. You know, there's always like that savant player that just knows everything. And it's like, how do you know this? He goes, oh, I learned it in Chinatown. Everybody said I learned it in Chinatown. So part 3 came out. I think I was in Florida when that game came out. I was on a vacation with my family, and they added the run button.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's only 5 buttons. They added the dash, whatever it was, and the combos, and then Cabal was like my new favorite. I was like, oh my God, this guy is ridiculously overpowered. And then I fell in love with Ultimate Mortal Kombat, where I discovered this great cheat with Robot Smoke. And then once the game started going to consoles, I just sort of, I couldn't keep up with all that. So I kind of lost interest after part 3.
Okay.
So I was there for basically the foundation of all of them. And I'll say that what Street Fighter is to Japanese gamers, Mortal Kombat is to American gamers. That was that's our Street Fighter.
Yeah.
This is it. This is, what we're known for is
we
like
need a crossover, by the way, just for what it's worth.
Yeah, I'm surprised it never happened, because Street Fighter crossed over with quite a few properties, but never Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat with DC.
Yeah, so my love for the MK universe runs pretty deep. I mean, I used to buy like anything that had to do with that. I knew Ed Boon and John Tobias. Like, I didn't know them, but I knew like their stories and how they made these characters, and I would follow those guys and everything they did. Oh yeah, and like Noob Saibot was Tobias and Boone spelled backwards. I knew about Smoke. I mean, I was obsessed. I mean, I was totally obsessed. But it was only up until, I want to say, Ultimate MK3 was where I sort of cut it off, because I got older. I went to college. I couldn't afford video game systems, and I just, So I was there for the foundation. That's how far deep I go.
I hear 11 is really good, the new one.
Yeah. 11 is like a whole sort of return to form. They added Rambo to it. The Terminator's in it.
RoboCop's
in it. So that's where I go with it. That's how deep my blood is.
All right. Well, then did this thing satisfy the gamer fan in you?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
That's it. That's all we got.
That's it. I mean, do you want me to keep going? I could.
Yeah. What did you think? What did it do right? What did it do wrong?
It did more right in certain characters and not right in others. Like, I read that Cole Young was a studio mandate.
That's weird. Yeah, brand new.
Yeah. I don't know why,
character.
because they're like, yeah, I agree with everything you said about the first movie, Tony, but I had more fun watching it because those people can actually act and they had charisma. And it's like Kano's on screen and it's one movie. Liu Kang is on screen, it's another movie. Shang Tsung is on screen, it's a whole other movie. So I felt like Cole Young just took away from building up the other characters. But if the first movie proved anything, it's that you can have charismatic characters, you could build up a story, and you could do it all within 2 hours. It's not that hard. So watching this movie, I was just like, wait, there's no tournament? That
was the most alarming thing.
Yeah, and Sub-Zero's
I was like, what?
Sub-Zero is God level power, and I'm like, okay, so I guess he's the big bad? That's interesting. So it was fun to watch, because of certain characters, but I definitely, in my head, I mean, I know I'll save the rating for the end, but
now you get the hang of this.
Yeah. Hey, it's my baby's first podcast. I wanted to love it. I was really excited for it, but I like the opening of it is, the blood feud between, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and then it sort of just goes away, and then Sub-Zero drops that line where he says, I killed him centuries ago. And it's like, motherfucker, how are you still alive? It's like 2021. Like, how did you get these?
Lives forever.
It's like, there's a whole other movie there that they didn't.
Absolutely.
There's a whole other, like, three
That's
other
my
movies.
big gripe. That's my big gripe. I was like, when they open up the story with the guy getting his family murdered, and you know that he's also an assassin, and there's this feud. So he's not, like, he's just as bad as the other guy. But it's just now we're just seeing it from that point of view of his family getting slaughtered, and I'm like, oh, I want to see this guy go to hell and like claw his way back and fucking enter the tournament and get his revenge, and you don't see any of that. It
happened all off screen.
And yeah, it happens all off screen, and like he was one of the more like charismatic characters that I really was interested in, and then we cut to Cole, and it's kind of this mundane, slow moving story introducing us to Jax and Sonya and all these other people that kind of are like not the greatest. In terms, or they don't have the cool, like you have that cool beginning. I'm already in. Like now you're gonna take that away from me and go to these other characters. It feels like almost like the Bryan Cranston thing.
Yeah,
remember?
Yeah.
I'm into this guy.
Yeah.
So, anyhow,
cut to a more boring character.
Yeah, cut to a more boring character that doesn't really do much.
Right, he's an awful actor. I wanted him to play Shang-Chi until I saw this movie, and I'm like, okay, I'm good with the other guy.
Louis Tan, he was in Deadpool 2 for a brief second.
I really loved
Iron
Kano.
Fist. Kano was my favorite part of the whole movie. He's fucking
Kano was the best part of the movie.
Oh my
God.
I want us to have a special conversation about Kano and Cabal. So can we save that, because I really really love them, especially Cabal.
Okay,
I'd like to save that for just
save it.
We will save it for
save
Cabal.
that.
Anthony, what'd you think of this movie coming out of it?
I mean, initially I came out of it and I was like, I was entertained for sure. I was definitely entertained. I knew right away. I was like, this is not a good. Like, this isn't very good. But there are elements of like good things. As you guys mentioned, the opening is like a different movie.
Yeah.
And then I think the big mistake is Cole Young, like, what, you didn't need to make up a character. And like, and then I was like, are they reincarnating Hiroyuki Sanada as Scorpion into Cole Young? Maybe that'll kind of make sense, but they didn't even really do that.
No.
So Cole Young was a huge miss. I'll agree with you guys. Kano was fucking funny.
He's the best.
I liked when Scorpion was on screen. I actually did like Sub-Zero a lot. I felt like the middle was really like the pacing was a little off, so the middle kind of dragged a lot with like the
Arcana
kind of training, the Arcana stuff.
Yeah.
There were like, at the end of the day, it's Mortal Kombat. So like, I never really got invested as a kid, even as an adult, into like the actual storyline. So for me, Mortal Kombat was always just like funny little like jokes, brutal kills, and like fights.
Yeah.
So on that level, like this movie kind of delivers on a lot of that stuff. Like you see a fucking lady get sawed in half.
Oh my god, by fucking Kung Lao's helmet.
Yeah.
Can I just ask?
So you see some brute.
That isn't it hard to fight with a metal helmet that big, a metal hat? I don't know. It just seems awkward.
Don't think about this. I mean, so the film.
Stop thinking.
Yeah, don't think about that kind of stuff. The film has like a lot of like video game moves that happen, and Scorpion showing up and saying "Get over here," still like hit. So like there was fun stuff, but I think anchoring the story on Cole Young was not the best idea. And I felt like it was just kind of paced really weirdly. And at the end of the movie, I felt like, oh wait, did they just make this whole movie to advertise?
Yes,
like, they're really presumptive to think that we're gonna just want to see a Mortal Kombat 2 after showing this.
Yeah, it was a little like Amazing Spider-Man 2, where you felt like you're waiting for the next movie and not what you're actually watching.
Exactly. I'm looking at the clock, and they're going through the training, and then there's like that final scene, and I'm like, oh, fuck, they're not going to show this fucking tournament, are they? And then everybody dies, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? All the bad guys die.
Well, one more thing, too, but before I get into, or you can finish real quick. Well, the bad guys dying, I mean, that does happen in the video games. Like, it does end with you killing people.
Right.
The one other big gripe I had is not only do they have Cole Young, who's this made up character, but then you have him kill Goro, who's like one of the most badass characters.
I was going to say that.
He unlocked his Arcana out in the farm. And what was that?
Oh, he unlocked his Arcana. Wait, come on.
I'm being sarcastic. Why was his outfit made out of like gold bandages? The fuck was that? It looked horrible. Like, I liked a lot of the costumes. I thought they looked pretty accurate to the video game, but like Cole's, like, what was he wearing? What was that? It was like fight wrap all around him. It just looked bad.
He was the Exo Man of War from the Valiant comic.
It didn't look good. Ruggs, where did this movie go wrong?
Well, I don't know.
After the intro, I would say after that intro.
After the first 3 minutes.
He asked me, Bellotti.
I know, but I know what you're going to say.
Oh, shit.
I would say after the intro.
I'm going to say after the intro.
After the intro.
Wait, one rug boy at a time. Who's talking?
Well,
what's going on?
There's 3 rug boys here. Which one is it? Is it me?
It's you.
No, this movie kind of like it. I think that when they started on Cole Young, and then they had like the Jack story, and then the Sonya story, then the Kano, like introducing all those characters, and I'm like, oh, we're spending a lot of time on these people, and they're gonna eventually find, the temple, and then you get introduced to the other characters. I'm like, oh, they're really like just introducing all these characters and spending a lot of time with each one, but I don't feel like I know anything about any of them.
Yeah.
So it's weird. I mean, you do kind of learn that Jax and Sonya were friends in the army, but like all of this stuff with the brand, and I think you didn't need any of that.
That tattoo transfers if you kill the person. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I think that doesn't make any sense because
that's how Sonya, that was hilarious. So they kept mentioning, by the way, Sonya, you can't, we're going to have to ask you to step outside. Yeah, you don't have the thing. And then she does get the thing, but they kept fucking pointing out she didn't have the thing.
Is that a thing in canon? That's not a thing, right?
I think
tattoo?
that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Okay. You know
I would have rather have had like Scorpion reappear as a ghost, or like rematerialize himself and gather up these people to fight Sub-Zero.
Oh,
and he be the driving force behind it,
right? Because they talk about that prophecy, but I think where the movie, I was into the intro, and then I'm like, okay, they're introducing Cole Young. I'm like, whatever. Hopefully, he gets better. And when they cut to Sonya's like trailer park, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going along with it. And then it cuts to her she has Kano chained up in her.
Yes.
And I'm like, why? What's the plan? Like, why is this man chained up in her place? What is this? She doesn't explain. She
had the tattoo. That was the marking.
So that's why she chained this man up in her.
Because she was like studying the marking. Like she knew something was coming.
Yeah, she's trying to find out about the tournament.
Is that why? Because I couldn't. Yeah. I was like, why does she have this?
She's tracking everyone with the fucking dragon tattoo.
What was her plan? She was just gonna.
I don't know. She's gonna find
him.
She like knew something. I forget. She knew something was coming.
I know she had like the whole wall with the photos, but so after that part, I was like, all right, I guess we're going here. Here we go.
I have to point out, why is it in every movie that like when someone's tracking some sort of mystery, they like line everything up on the wall?
Well, you have to have string and push pins and yarn.
You know what?
And you have to tie things together.
I did that on Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
there was a set we had to do.
Yeah.
And we just did it on Blacklist.
Oh, I bet Blacklist does that all the time.
Yeah.
That's the whole show.
We did it. And on Blacklist, it was also in a fucking storage container. I swear. I shit you not.
And
it was
also,
a fucking storage unit.
It either means
and
the person...
John Bellotti, you can send in your resignation tomorrow. You are done on the Blacklist.
The episode was already on the air.
Well, it usually means the person is like a crazy serial killer, or they're like an investigative journalist, and they're trying to get
a huge mystery.
The truth.
Yeah. What would be a better way to show it that's different? Like just someone comes out with like a folder,
a PowerPoint presentation,
a filing cabinet. I don't know.
I feel like you would just have it on a computer.
Yeah.
You're just like, here's like the files.
But visually,
like,
it looks
practically,
visually,
it's cool.
practically,
it's very Seven. That scene with where we first meet him, and then Reptile's there, and you see Reptile's saliva is acid, but then when he punches his hand through the heart, nothing happens. That doesn't burn him. Whatever.
I forgot that Reptile was in this movie, and I thought that was cool.
That was cool.
I thought he looked cool.
Yeah, I thought he looked great.
I thought they was actually well done CGI there.
Until you mentioned that, I completely forgot.
Some of the CGI is okay, and some of it's really bad.
I have a big complaint that I just thought of too. I like the two actors that were in this movie for Raiden and Shang Tsung, but they have like no charisma whatsoever in those roles, especially in like comparison to the original Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
I forget what the fucking names of those actors were, but they were awesome.
Christopher
Lambert.
Yeah, the whole time I'm watching it, I kept thinking of Cary. Oh God, I'm forgetting his last name. He played Shang Tsung.
Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa. Yeah.
Him and Lambert, whether or not a white guy should have been playing a Japanese god is besides the point.
Yeah.
But they both had magnetism. Same thing with Liu Kang, Sonya, Johnny Cage, even fucking Goro had
some personality. Yeah.
Well, Sonya was hotter in the first.
Oh, that was my first question. Which had the hotter Sonya?
Oh, Sonya in the first
Really?
one.
You think so?
Yeah.
This girl was in the Meg playing the Sonya. Jessica McNamee.
And The Vow. And I know this because we had The Vow on yesterday morning, and then we're watching Mortal Kombat. We're like, wait, this girl looks familiar.
I guess overall, too, just like, I only mentioned a couple characters, but the first movie, you just had these over-the-top personalities playing. And, like, that's kind of what you kind of want in a Mortal Kombat, because, like, these are all larger-than-life characters.
With egos.
The video game. With huge egos. Yeah.
So, like, like I gave you my Mortal Kombat resume.
Yeah.
And so the first game is like basically a tournament with some backstory with Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Then you have Johnny Cage and Sonya and Liu Kang. Like, they're all fighting for their reasons. And the second game, every single character in that game served a central purpose to the storyline of the game, which was really cool because there's no like Dalsim or Zangief, just regular fighters. Every character, it was either they were part of Outworld or they were part of Earthrealm. And they had a very specific reason. Part 3 was similar. They added a few, like Stryker was like a riot cop, didn't really need him. Cabal was a cool addition. So like, every game they had characters that tied into the overall story. And the first movie did, and this movie kind of, aside from like the tattoos, they're really like there really wasn't much of that aside from like even Liu Kang, right? Like Liu Kang in the mythos plays a central role in the whole overall storyline. And here he was just like, he was teaching them the Arcana, which
he was like third fiddle to Cole Young.
Third fiddle, right. And the other thing is this Arcana thing was never part of the games. That was
that's not a part of the game either?
No, that was never. I was like, what the fuck is an Arcana? I'm like, did they just make that up for the movie to explain it? Like, really?
I think that was their way of like, that was their like olive branch to connect it to like making it pliable to the real world. Like, oh, this is the way we make it go from like what would happen in the real world to like, okay, let's make this like about mystical things.
Right. The whole sequence a waste of time, really, because I wanted to see a tournament. Let's get to Cabal.
Cabal and Kano.
Let's get to Cabal, Bellotti. And Kano.
What about Kano?
And Kano.
Yeah.
All right. So, Rug Boy, did you want to talk about Kano? Because you said you love them.
Well, I like Kano. I think that he brought a lot of charisma and like levity, and it's just he had some great lines.
Yeah,
and he was like an asshole, and I love assholes. So
he does
check all the boxes for me.
I'm going to shove that sombrero so far up your ass, you're going to be speaking Spanish.
Yeah, he was not. I was shocked at how un-PC. Like, usually these movies try to be all PC
it's R-rated
now.
and swearing, which is fantastic.
Kung Pao. I was fucking dying. I was like, this is like, I feel like I was watching Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood.
There was a quieter line was where he's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Make a door appear out of nowhere?" And the door opens, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty good actually."
No, there's one scene where they're in the desert looking for the temple.
Yeah.
And Sonya puts her hand on his shoulder. He goes, "The fuck?" Like, I just started dying. It was so stupid.
Not here, because Liu Kang is like, "Not here. We must trade."
So Cabal.
He's like, "Forget all that. You just threw a fireball out of your hand. Am I going to be able to do that? How do I do that?"
He should have been the Cole Young, because he was like a better point of view than Cole Young was. He's like, "What the fuck?" Like, that was better. That's the reaction you would have if you saw some woman shoot rings out of her hand, or a fucking, some guy turning moisture into ice. I mean, that's how you would react.
I mean,
what
that
the
part
fuck is going on?
But Cabal sounds like somebody who works with you out on Long Island, Staten Island. Why?
So in the game, Cabal was like, he was like my shit. Like, everybody, like in Street Fighter, people either loved Ryu or Ken. Some people like Guile. So Mortal Kombat, by part 3, Cabal was like my guy. And in the game, he's got like this. His face kind of looks like Deadpool's face, like he's horribly scarred.
Burned, yeah.
He's living off of like a Darth Vader breeding apparatus, so you didn't really know anything about him.
He looks cool.
So I knew he was in the movie, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna see Cabal in action. And then it's like it cuts to Outworld, and Shang Tsung's addressing his warriors. And then it cuts to Cabal, and I'm like, he looks badass, but then he sounds like a New York City construction worker, and I fucking lost it. He's like, that Kano's a real piece of shit. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
He goes, he's a piece of shit scumbag. You're going to love him.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit scumbag.
So good. Bill Burr is Cabal. What's going on here? It was hilarious.
Well, someone said like, oh, it sounds like Bill Burr. Someone said that on my Facebook, and I said, no, it's an Australian. Yeah. I looked it up. It's an Australian guy playing in New York.
Oh, he's trying to do New York.
And I was like, why does he sound like this? And then I Googled it, and in the game, they retconned his character. Like he worked with Kano in the Black Dragon, but they retconned him that he was an NYPD cop with Stryker. And I said, so they're kind of like merging it. But when you see that get up and that voice comes out, I'm like, why am I in this movie? Like, I identified so much with him, and I'm like, this is how fucking Captain America should sound. This is how fucking Bucky should sound like this. Fucking Spider-Man should fucking sound like this.
Like that, yeah.
Like, they should all sound like this. I'm like, finally, I get representation the way I've always wanted to in a fighting game movie. This is it. I never thought it'd come from Cabal.
You saw yourself in Cabal. I love it.
I saw myself. I'm like, it sounds like everything I say at work every day. To the point where they go, it's late in the day when Bellotti starts cursing, and I was dying though. So that was the one highlight for me. That was like the biggest highlight for me in this movie.
They picked it was like a random grouping of
from different games.
Characters
they
picked.
Yeah,
like I was like Cabal and Raiko. I was like, I don't even know who Raiko is.
I don't know either. I didn't know who Natara was either, but I guess she's in the other game.
Who's Natara?
I have no idea. I guess she's in the other game.
I like Melina's like venom mouth you saw at the end. Right. She was all teeth. That was fucking sick.
There was no Katana, and she's like she's like the Princess Leia of the Mortal Kombat mythos, and she was nowhere to be found.
Yeah, it was just a random, like, I feel like they should have stuck with like the first itineration or like first and second game characters.
I think they're just saving it.
Yeah, there's tons of characters you can still
other
use.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I love seeing the fatalities. Like Jack smashed that dude's head. That was fucking great. Scorpion uses fire breath, and you could see like his skull. He's melting, and the skull's there, and then it like grows back. That was fucking cool. Some of the shit looked cool, and then Goro just looked like a fucking CW show.
I mean, if it is a $50 million movie,
right? That would make sense.
They got their money's worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Test your might.
It's the best looking Mortal Kombat movie.
I mean, the fight sequences left something to be desired. I'll say, like,
yeah, I agree with that.
They were uneven. Like some were better than others.
Yeah.
So they weren't like consistently good.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I liked some of them. It was a weird choice to like. I think the middle was just so paced so terribly, and then they like have 4 big fights, but they do like a montage where they're all happening at the same time.
Yeah, where they're
not part of the tournament, so it's like everyone's getting zapped to different locations. I felt like they could have had more fun with like the locations and like those like 4 fights where they were having like people pair off. I don't know why they like montaged it like that.
Yeah, let me ask you this. they're in that temple, right? That has that weird apparatus in the middle that it was like not like a phallic, but it had like
it puts the shield up. It's what Raiden uses to put the
it was
the
like this
barrier
ancient
up.
temple, and it had this like futuristic spire in the middle of it with no explanation.
Yeah.
So Raiden, he protects it, right, with that shield.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the shield goes down because of Cabal convincing Kano that it's better to join his side, right?
Right.
So Shang Tsung invades the temple, and they're all fighting. Where the fuck was Raiden the whole time? Did I miss something?
He said something along the lines that he couldn't participate.
Oh, he can't get involved because he's an elder god.
Yeah.
He's a god, so he can't get involved.
That was another thing I didn't understand, too, is like, okay, so there's this tournament.
He broke the rules.
Yeah, but they're like, wait a minute, if they win this tournament, they get
But then
to take
they just
over.
keep
It's like-
showing up and picking
but
fights with him. What are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, how does this, like, why do they keep showing up
that
early?
didn't make any sense, yes.
To take people out? Does that mean if they take them out of the tournament, they win by default?
You know what?
Is
Yeah,
that what they're
there's
trying
no
to do?
tournament then, I guess. They beat him
Yeah,
to
was
it.
that them trying to stack the odds in their favor?
No, they're just cheating.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck this. Let's go out and do it.
Kill him
But
before
did they
the
cheat in
tournament.
any other tournaments?
Yeah.
I think they always
So
cheat.
why would they even have the tournament if they're just breaking all the rules? It's
What's
fucking
the
good.
point of the
Just
tournament?
invade. Shang Tsung said, I'm coming back with an army. Just do that from the get-go if that's how you're going to play the game.
I'm good at calculation. That's the same actor.
Yeah, it is the same actor. And Raiden was also, he was
He's
also
in Marvel.
he was, what's his name? The Warrior 3, but he was,
Hogan.
Oh.
yes, he was also in Ultraman Tiga, I found out too.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Both of those guys, like, again, were so, like, miscast in those roles.
Horribly.
I would have loved, I mean, it's good that they had a Japanese guy playing Raiden, but no screen presence on either of those two guys.
Yeah. It's almost, I know there's a whole, like, if it's a Japanese role, you have to get a Japanese actor. If it's, I know they're trying to, but I don't know, like Hiroyuki Tanaka, he was Japanese playing a Chinese sorcerer,
Right.
and he was fantastic in the role.
Well, Joe Taslim is Indonesian, and he's playing.
He's Indonesian,
and he's
yeah.
playing
Joe
a Chinese
Taslim is
character.
great, dude. I thought Sub-Zero
He had
looked cool.
He had great screen presence. They definitely like made him like uber level powerful, but he was a badass.
I liked him like
he was great.
making it snow and then making it snow reverse and like the different ways.
Everything with Sub-Zero was like the last fight where he
the
freezes
ice,
the
all the
blood
ice
and-
everywhere. That was great.
everything was great. It was just like they made him like ridiculously overpowered. I think.
Here's another great moment I love when Jax gets his like actual arms, the Arcana, because there's a giant rock on Sonya Blade, and somehow he picks it up, and she's not crushed. She's fine. Like she would have been dead. There's a giant boulder. He lifts off her body, and she's just like lying there.
I hate that his Arcana is the metal arms.
It's so dumb. That was so dumb. I didn't understand that either.
Just give him metal arms. You don't
just
need it
put
to
on-
be his Arcana.
From the beginning. Just
How did they get metal arms in a temple? They
built it
started
from
making
something. I don't know. They had
Raiden's just like basically like to Sonya, trust the process. They know what they're doing.
They just had what did they have? I don't know what.
How did his Arcana give him more metal on his arms?
Crew more metal.
Well, how do you make fire come out of your hand?
Yeah.
Same shit.
How do you have a spinny metal hat that slices people in
Cole
half?
Young, though, I think that was a huge miss. They didn't. I think the writers were like too clever. They were like, well, if we come up with this character that we made up, he's like an amalgamy for the audience, and
That's
we
what
can
it was supposed to be.
view
Boo.
this through our own eyes with
No,
this
we know
guy.
what it is. We know what the fuck
And it's
Mortal
like,
Kombat is.
but-
We don't need that.
No one gives a fuck about Cole Young if you've been
No.
playing Mortal Kombat.
And by the end of the movie, I don't give a shit about this guy. I don't want to have to come back now and watch the actual fucking tournament.
And
The
you
fuck?
fucking tease at the end like the most charismatic character in the game.
There
And you're
is
like,
that.
oh, Cole Young's gonna find Johnny Cage. Well, fuck, just put Johnny Cage in that role.
That was in the first movie. It was
Right.
the first movie.
Yeah.
I guess they
So,
didn't
yeah,
want to copy the
poster
first
tease.
movie.
What I think happened, because I was reading about it last night, is that the first movie was New Line Cinema.
Yeah.
And they were apparently there was going to be a third movie
Right.
called Mortal Kombat Devastation with the original cast coming
And Paul
back.
Anderson was going to direct it.
Yeah, Paul Anderson was
Yep.
coming back. All the originals were coming back, and apparently they started it in Louisiana, but then Hurricane Katrina hit,
Oh.
and then it destroyed some of
Ooh.
the sets. So it kind of went away, and I think New Line went under, and then Warner Brothers bought them out, and they bought the rights to they own Mortal Kombat now.
Yeah.
And I think because this is the same studio that gave us a fucking depressing Superman movie, I don't think they really knew how to do the movie the way it should have been done. And I think that's why that studio mandate came down. because I kept thinking of the first Hellboy movie, and Hellboy has such a rich, fantastic world that you saw in the second movie that you could tell they were hesitant to show you in the first movie, so they gave you that point of view character. I forgot his name. It was like John something, who was sort of like our point of view, and he added nothing to the story. He was just like a bullshit plot point just to get us invested in it. And by the second movie, you're like, oh, all I needed was Ron Perlman and Abe Sapien. I just needed those two to carry me through the movie, because the second movie is fantastic. Cole Young just reminded me of that point of view, because it sounds like the studio was nervous to just give us a tournament movie, even though it's been done a gazillion times with famous tournament movies like Five Fingers of Death, Enter the Dragon, Bloodsport, and on and on and
give me
on.
a tournament movie. Give me 3 tournament movies if you were going to play in 3 movies.
If you guys remember, I was following this like 10 years ago, maybe.
Oh, really?
But there was a web series. Kevin, I forget I don't really know how to say his last name. Tachuron. He made this web series on his own called Mortal Kombat Legacy, and he had Michael J. White in it.
Oh,
I forgot who Michael J. White was playing.
Jax.
Might have been Jax. He's playing Jax. But that, basically the support behind that funded the short film Mortal Kombat Rebirth, and then that convinced the amount of enthusiasm behind the web series, and then the short film basically made studios go, oh shit, people still like Mortal Kombat. So I think that was the catalyst for another Mortal Kombat film, was all this stuff 10 years ago.
It's still a huge property. Kevin Tankero, and I see this now. Was it good? Is it any good?
I thought the Legacy stuff was good, the mini web series. Once he made the short film, I didn't think it was that great. But there was so much buzz behind the web series that it really prompted
2011.
studios to look at it again.
And Mortal Kombat's still a huge IP, and they have still yet to make a good video game movie, I think.
Well,
this
no,
is
they
not
make
it.
good
games.
Just in general.
I still think the first movie is the best video game movie ever.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I still
Detective Pikachu?
The less said, the better.
I haven't seen it.
But Sonic.
I heard
Sonic was awful.
I heard both are decent, but I haven't seen them.
No, but Sonic was, if you remember when Sonic the trailer was first released, he looked fucking weird and everybody freaked out. And then they went and did those reshoots really quickly where they added a more faithful looking Sonic to the game, to the movie. So even that movie, it was like, oh no, we're going to make him look weirdly human-like. And then people freaked out and then they switched him to what he looked like eventually. But
what's a better video game movie is actually a Scott Pilgrim or Edge of Tomorrow. They haven't been able to nail the experience of playing the game.
Let me ask you this, Bellotti. You're the Mortal Kombat guy. Obviously, we both think the first one was memorable. I don't know if I would necessarily say it's a good movie, but it's definitely memorable. With the material that Mortal Kombat is, it being this uber violent, yet also crack jokes, fatality, weird characters, is there actually a good movie within that IP?
Good question.
I think so, because the first 7 minutes of this movie gave you a horrible, tragic backstory that we all got, it sounds like everybody got invested in the movie's opening, right? We were all like, oh my God, this is why does Bi-Han hate him so much? He murdered his family. And there's so many interesting.
But then you would just follow Scorpion. Would you introduce all these characters?
But I guess my second point is, Liu Kang also has a heavy story, and then Kano and Sonya and Jax have a heavy story, and Kung Lao has a heavy story, and so on and so on. So it's I understand as a screenwriter, you got to pick and choose which one, and I think the first one balanced that out really well. Obviously they shortchanged Sub-Zero and Scorpion by that line where he goes, oh yeah, I control them now. And it's okay, well, there goes that story. So this movie, like I said, when it started, I just said, oh, it's going to be about their eternal battle. But then it wasn't. So I was like, so who are we following? So it's not Liu Kang. So it's Cole, but then it's not Cole because he comes and goes, right?
Yeah.
And then it's Liu Kang. And then Kung Lao, descendant of the original Kung Lao from the first tournament. But then he dies. And I was like,
he gets his soul sucked. I liked him. I liked that hat. It's weird.
So I think with better writing, you could have had something closer to the first movie. But
it's a lot to juggle in one. And
why can't they make movies good anymore?
Because it's like I said earlier about the Marvel movies. it's because now it's a worldwide box office they have to consider. So they can't offend certain people. They can't offend certain governments. They can't offend the military. They can't offend so they're playing it so safe that they're just giving us crap, because now they have to look at China, and China doesn't like anything that has to do with politics. They don't like any Star Wars. They like fantasy stuff. They like Fast and Furious. They like the Marvel stuff. And I think that's a huge problem with movies, because they're just...
I can understand that it's an obstacle, but I mean, if we're reviewing these movies and we're seeing that, this is a solution here. Instead of building the story around these characters, you use, Scorpion to kind of drive the plot and drive the characters too, because all of these humans are clueless about what's going on. You need somebody, but we start the story where they kind of know what's going on, these 2 or 3 people, and it seems weird that we're now, it just seemed all kinds of weird. It didn't have that thrust. And if we could see that, how is that so hard to do? I don't know. I get very frustrated when you watch a movie, you're like, the solution's right there.
There's too many cooks sometimes is the problem.
I think WB, they're touted as being friendly, like great to work with in terms of like directors like Scorsese, Nolan. Those guys get, they're able to make the movies they want. Like especially Nolan, he can make whatever the fuck he wants. Obviously with Tenet, right? But I think when it comes to franchises, I feel like they keep falling on their face unless it's Harry Potter, right? That's their big IP that they got from a book, but it's also based on a book. And there's 6 books that have like a hard story and mythology built into it, where Mortal Kombat is 11 games and it's sort of all over the place in tone.
Yeah.
Right. And then they looked at DC and they never knew what to do with Superman, and they gave it to Zack Snyder, and look what happened with that. So I just think it's also the studio's fault. And if you remember too, up until recently, if you follow Ray Fisher and his tweeting about Joss Whedon and his treatment on the set of Justice League, it sounds like Warner Brothers was a horrible, toxic environment in terms of the executives in the movie. So I just think it was a perfect storm for this movie to sort of be greenlit and then made and then released to the point where they just didn't really know how to treat the property properly, I should say.
I think to be honest, I don't think Warner Brothers, I don't think there's many studios that would really give a shit about treating the property properly in terms of Mortal Kombat. I just don't think there's enough investment at the top to be like, you know what, we really need to do this right. Like a Mortal Kombat movie right would be awesome. And I think they just look at it and go, cool fights, good one-liners. Let's make this one R-rated now so we can do the fatalities.
That was the best thing we could have done.
And we're good.
Not everyone is going to be Marvel. And that's what kind of going back to what Rogue Boy is saying, is that the solution is there. If you're just true to the source material to the point where you can get away with some of the more outlandish stuff, then it's a recipe for success. But when I read some interviews with the director and the screenwriter, especially, the screenwriter was like, "Oh, we wanted to be as authentic as we could have been to the game." I'm like, "Did you ever play the fucking game?
Yeah, how
like,
are you going to be authentic to the game?
Yeah, like what game did you play that you're this authentic?" So
all of them. Well, look, Bellotti, with all that said, give me your score for this movie. What would you give it?
Well, Cabal gets a 10 out of 10.
Cabal definitely 10 out of 10
Cabal
for the accent.
needs his own fucking movie.
How does he get killed?
10 out of 10. I think he's still alive. He was fighting.
He gets killed.
Cole. Didn't Cole
he was
stab
fighting
him?
Cole, and then Sonya killed him. No, that was Melina. That was hilarious. Sonya shoots Melina, and you see a hole in her body, but the spine is like still there for some reason.
How does he die?
Oh, Liu Kang, fire dragon. He's sinking in the quicksand, and he lights up the quicksand, and the fire dragon comes out and burns him.
Okay,
gotcha. Oh, he did the animality. That's right.
He does his fatality and burns it.
I wish we would have got babality in this. That would have been.
Which one's that one?
I heard that there was a nod to that when they go to Sonya's compound, and one of the boats says Bambino or something. And
I was going to bring that up, Ruggs. Did you notice one of the boats was called Bambino? I was like, there's a Bambino boat.
I did not see
that. Was hilarious. Yeah.
Friendship.
Again? That's they did in the third one. Again?
Friendship. Go ahead. I just had to say something from the game.
No, so Cabal gets a 10. Cabal and Kano get a 10. But the movie gets a 4.
Bullshit. Okay.
They really do.
4 from Mortal Kombat Bellotti. All right, Anthony, what would you give this movie?
Initially, I came out of it with a 6 because I was like, I was entertained.
Yeah.
You know, as I thought about it more, I'm like, I can't give this movie a 6. This isn't a good movie. One of my friends was like, they saw. By the way, if you listen to the remixed version of the old theme, it's good. I like it.
At the credit, they only have it at the end.
They played it a couple times throughout the movie too, like little hints of it.
Okay.
Yeah, they played it when Sub-Zero's fighting Scorpion, and then there's another point, I think, when Cole Young is fighting Goro.
Okay.
Yeah, like one of my friends was like, "How is the movie?" I'm like, "It's a Mortal Kombat movie," and then he watched it and goes, "This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen."
He hasn't seen Annihilation, clearly.
Clearly not. It's not as bad as Annihilation. No. Annihilation is all goddamn awful, but this isn't really a good movie. That being said, I enjoyed my time with it. If they make a Mortal Kombat 2, I'm curious to see how that plays out with a Johnny Cage and see what else happens. But a little bit disappointed because I definitely saw the trailer and was like, this is my shit. This is going to be awesome. Not as awesome as I expected, so I'm going to go 5 out of 10.
5 for Anthony Rugboy.
Well, it checked all the boxes that it needed to check.
Yeah.
But as I said, I was a little underwhelmed by a lot of it, especially some of the fight sequences. I got tired of. Like, I don't think they were all. Some were better than others.
Absolutely.
Some were better staged than others. Yeah. And overall, you had the main characters were like all right, but I was kind of pining away for other stuff. I want to know about other things, and they didn't have the tournament, so disappointed at the end. But I'm going to say it's a 6. It's a movie, and it checks the boxes. And if you think about it, if they did make this movie for $50 million, it
looks great for $50 million.
It's fine.
Yeah.
If it's a $90 million movie, then you got to.
Then there may be some issues.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, good point. I mean, I was like, it looks great. Like as far as the way it's shot and directed. I also I was entertained. I wasn't that big into the lore, so I got all the Easter eggs and the fatalities and the flawless victory. It made me smile, and it's a Mortal Kombat movie, so it gave me what I wanted, which is super violent, fucking crazy things happening. And they did kind of show all the fun stuff in the trailer. Jax getting his arms ripped off was fucking crazy. I wish they hadn't showed that. A couple other quick observations. Shang Tsung's chest piece, very bosomy and bulky. I thought that was odd. I was like, why is his chest piece so big? And then, how about Liu Kang just sweeping Kano's leg over and over again? That's funny. Like a joke, right? That's like
that was pretty funny.
Gameplay joke. The guy who just does the same move, and you're like, fuck you, dude. I can't even get close to you. So all that said, it was entertaining, whatever. It's good for a watch. I'll give it a 6 also, just for the violence and the R-ratedness, but it's a Mortal Kombat movie. You get what you think you're going to get.
Mortal Kombat!
It's slightly better than Annihilation.
Whoa. Yeah,
slightly. I think it's a little bit more than slightly.
No, I'm kidding. It's to me, it doesn't really quite surpass the first one. It's kind of like on the same level, I would say.
I would agree. I think the first one, there was also the first one had that built in, this is a Mortal Kombat game. And holy shit, the characters kind of look like the video game. This is amazing. This one doesn't have that kind of buzz.
But don't these characters, aren't they more true to source than the first movie, the costume wise, anyways?
No, not really.
I mean, the movie had Scorpion had a fucking CG fucking
income on yeah.
Yeah,
well, I had a lizard. It was like a lizard thing, and coming out of his palm.
And the CG was horrible.
I loved in this one that it was like his wife's gardening tool that he tied rope to, and then just became this badass fucking weapon through the head. That was
great. Talk about foreshadowing, huh?
Right.
I mean, the original isn't a perfect movie either. It's not.
No, it's not. But great. As far as it's you could say Mortal Kombat is arguably the biggest, most popular American created, American based video game I think we've ever had. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Super Mario Brothers.
That's Japanese.
Japanese. All Japanese.
Okay.
Street Fighter Japanese. Resident Evil Japanese.
Oh yeah,
Madden.
Madden,
let's take out sports games because it's a different
Midway
genre.
Games also was in Chicago or started in Chicago at some point.
Those are Chicago boys.
I mean, growing up as a kid, you were either playing Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or
Street
both.
Fighter.
I remember those were the fighting games.
Yeah, I remember all the frenzy for all those games.
Yeah,
but that's probably right. That and what not Medal of Honor. What's the Call of Duty? Right.
The Call of Duty was later, but in terms of growing up in the 90s, those were the games, and then Tekken came along, and it was Tekken's kind of cool too. You can fight with a jaguar head on your face, whatever.
In a game of death, Bruce Lee that runs up your body and lands on you.
Liu Kang is inspired by Bruce Lee, right? That's a thing.
100%.
Yeah, he's got to be. It looks just like.
But I'm just trying to think, what's the other one? Grand Theft Auto is the other big one. So basically, all the most popular games in America have to do with violence, gore, pimps.
That is our biggest
stealing cars.
Listen, that's our biggest export is violent fucking
it's
movies.
Violence.
You know,
war. But then the Japanese have an Italian plumber, a blue, not very PC Italian plumber, a hedgehog that's on cocaine at all times,
a gorilla, a giant piece of bubble gum that happens to float.
Yeah, a woman wearing some sort of suit of armor that fights Metroids.
She's awesome.
That's what we get from Japan, but no, America, we get violence.
Violence is the best. Well, if this thing does good, they planning more sequels. I don't know. You want it to do good.
Yeah. I read that the screenwriter said, when I was writing it, I didn't want to show the tournament because I'm saving that for the second movie.
And the third movie,
well, the third movie, he said it's going to be post-tournament. I'm like, whatever that means.
What happens post-tournament? Same shit. They got to...
a war, a war.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember... I don't know if you guys remember. It's one of the worst movies of all time, but Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li.
Oh, it's
terrible. It's an awful movie. But at the end of the movie... it's the same thing. She picks up this flyer. It's from Ryu, and she's like, "Oh, there's this Street Fighter tournament," and that's how it ends. She's going to be in the Street Fighter tournament. The whole that movie doesn't have a tournament at all either.
Wow. Oh my god! But Bison has an Irish accent. Oh,
it's one of the worst movies of all time.
It's terrible.
I don't know if I think I hate that worse than Annihilation. I can laugh at.
Yeah.
Legend of Chun-Li just makes me mad.
Yeah, you know what makes Annihilation so much more entertaining is that they lean so hard into the video game that it was okay, well, this is literally just a fucking video game. There's no story; it's just a video game.
Yeah, it just starts.
Legend of Chun-Li was a buddy cop movie with.
Yeah, they tried to make it real world type thing.
World. Yeah, it was so far away from what it was supposed to be. Where Annihilation was oh, you want Sindel? I'm going to give you Sindel with the purple tights and the white hair. Here it is. You're going to take it. No, we're not toning down the purple either. It's going to be video game accurate purple too.
Look great on screen. It'll look great. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff on the Mortal Kombat. Bellotti, you want to hang out real quick? We got to go over some Oscars results after our last episode where we made predictions.
Sure. I mean, I didn't see. I saw one of the movies from the Oscars.
Okay. Well, we'll find out which one that is. Anthony, real quick, the first Oscars you watched ever all the way through, and probably the craziest Oscars they've put on. I want you to give us the results, but before that, what did you think of the broadcast?
Well, I'm one of. I mean, the broadcast only had 9 million viewers, which is down 58%. So I'm one of the few that decided to watch this.
I watched it.
Not at all surprised, by the way. I mean, pandemic, no one's seen these movies.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought it was okay. I prefer the clips. I got really tired of them doing fun facts about every nominee. I thought that was really boring visually.
Yeah.
The pacing was weird. I thought Best Picture would go last.
Yeah, there's a couple of weird things that happened.
But I wish the performances were all pre-shows, so you didn't have any music. Overall, though, I mean, I thought it was still a classy night. They definitely were very serious about the whole thing. I thought it was better than having a Zoom thing. That's definitely for sure. And then the pacing at the end, I think they thought Chadwick Boseman was going to win, and it really ended on a weird note.
That's a big fuck up right there.
This was the craziest thing. I thought the same thing. I was where are the clips of things? I guess they wanted to keep the runtime shorter. Then I was are these speeches going on and on? They didn't cut anyone off.
Well, they did was they got rid of all the clips so people could talk more.
So they let him talk more. Yes.
So I don't know. To me, I hate to say this, but this is not the Oscars. This is like an Oscars should be a celebration of the movie. It should make you excited about the films. This is all about the people and the actors and who did what. It doesn't really matter. It's not about the art. It's really just about who's going to get rewarded, like who's getting a trophy today.
Yeah.
That's all it really is. And it didn't make me interested in any movies. It didn't make me whatever.
That's absolutely right. This what they tried didn't work. Ultimately,
I thought it was a horrible broadcast.
I was putting myself. I was like, if I didn't see these movies, I'd be bored as shit without the clips.
Yeah.
But then I read something online where it was like someone theorized that they were going, well, only the fans, the people that are watching this Oscars broadcast probably have seen these movies because no one else is going to watch it. So they were like, why are we going to bore them with the clips?
Which is ironic because all these movies are on streaming. You can watch a lot of them, yet nobody did. So Soderbergh was promising a movie style event, not a TV show. He's like, I'm going to shoot it. He shot it 24 frames per second at a movie aspect ratio, and the opening
made no difference.
It really didn't. The only thing different was the opening. They had Regina King walk in with the credits, and it was like an opening credit scene with music. It was all live, and it was like starring everyone. But then they redressed the Union Station, and then that Glenn Close moment. Did you guys catch the Glenn Close doing the butt? Which I found out first. I was like,
it's obviously written.
It was all scripted. I was like, how the fuck did Glenn Close know this random thing? And yeah, that was all scripted.
You couldn't tell that?
It was later. I was like, holy shit, how'd you know this shit?
I will say Kaluuya talking about his parents having sex and them having his mom on camera. Going, what is he just saying?
That was great.
I thought that was funny.
Listen, they took some risks, but it didn't work. I'm sorry. It didn't exactly pay off.
I think it'll be back to status quo next year.
Will they have? This is the third year they went hostless, so I don't know if you put the host back. They not music. All the musical performances were pre-show. It was still like over 3 hours long, despite all this. Anyways, Anthony, let's get to the winners. We got our predictions. I'll tell you who got what. Let's start with animated feature. Who won this one?
Soul.
No
surprise there.
Just as we all thought. Points for everyone across the board. Best supporting actress. Oh, and the other thing, like you said, Best Picture usually is saved till the end, and it's a big thing. And they clearly they did not know. Only the accountants know who wins the Oscar, and they, just like us, thought Chadwick Boseman was going to win Best Actor and put him in the end. And then we'll get to what happened. But that was and then it just ended like the Sopranos finale. It was like cut to black. I was like, oh, okay, bye, see ya.
Yeah, I mean, let me just comment on. So wait, let me first say the winners, and then I'll comment on the pacing of that. So, Best Supporting Actress, Yoo Jung-yoon.
Nice, first Korean, to win an Oscar. We all got that except for Rug Boy, who wanted Maria.
Daniel Kaluuya, Best Supporting Actor.
We picked him.
Everyone kind of got that right. Yeah. I'm going to skip the main acting because they went out of order. Best Director, Chloe Zhao, Nomadland. That was set in stone. Best Picture, Nomadland.
Yeah.
So up to that point, it was like there were no surprises. No surprises whatsoever. So then they end with the two acting categories.
Yes.
Best Actress, Frances McDormand wins, which was a surprise just because a lot of people, well, first off, this category was up in the air, and there were a lot of people like, oh, Frances McDormand, they're not going to give her a third Oscar.
Yeah, she's won two, and they did.
I personally didn't think she was that great. I mean, I thought she was great, but I didn't think she was as good as like a Carey Mulligan or a Viola Davis. But whatever. Yeah. Then, as you mentioned, they end it with Best Actor. And I'm almost positive that Soderbergh was like, we'll end it with Best Actor because Boseman is winning.
It's going to be a huge moment.
Huge cap to this night.
His wife, Chadwick's wife, is there with a speech ready to go.
And instead, not that it's a bad pick, Anthony Hopkins, I think, is actually the performance of the year.
Yes.
But he's not there.
He's not there.
So it just ends with him with no speech and like Joaquin Phoenix just like not giving a fuck and is my Anthony Hopkins, and it's over.
No moment. No.
Let me say this, though. Wow. Anthony Hopkins definitely deserves the award.
Yeah.
But I was also like, I also felt bad because I was like, Chadwick Boseman's dead. I was like,
yeah.
This was
Anthony Hopkins is 83, though.
They should have honored him in a separate way.
I was like,
to kind of buffer the fact that if he didn't win, they still honored him.
Yeah, I was just so conflicted. I was like, I think Anthony Hopkins is a good pick, but shit, Boseman, he won everywhere, and like everyone was expecting to win. This was his like last moment.
Can I ask a question? How many other nominees are dead in this Oscars?
He was the only one, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, So he's an outlier. So they should have done something for him. It wouldn't have been out of place because he is the only person that's in that particular predicament. And another thing is that when Frances McDormand won, she just like flippantly just like whatever. So like you have two back-to-back like uneventful acceptances.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
It was weird, and they got to go back to being like, first off, like they had Best Director as like the fourth award like given out. It's like, wait a minute. And like Best Picture is like the culmination of like all movie making.
Yeah, it was
like,
weird.
I don't know why you would end with
they changed the
why
order.
Why do you end with like the actors? I know that's like, I don't know. I was just like, this doesn't feel right.
Some weird
I know some of my
decisions.
friends were pretty upset, actually. One of my friends was like, this is like Oscars so white again. They're giving it to the people that won, like Frances McDormand and Anthony Hopkins.
But
I
there
didn't
was
go
a
on
lot.
that level.
There's a lot of diversity at the same time, though.
Yeah.
On
You hear me?
display there.
Oh, hello?
John got booted, and he's back.
I got booted, and then it said like Rug Boy got booted too because we weren't talking or something. That was so weird.
So here's the tally from last week. Rug Boy, you got 4 picks right. Gerald got 5 picks right. Anthony got 5. I got 6.
Fuck you.
Shit.
I got 1 more. Had the best actor went everybody's way, it would have been the same, just 1 point higher. But that was interesting results to say the least. Bellotti, what are we watching? Which one of these Oscar movies have you seen?
I saw. Oh shit! Where'd the list go? I want to see Sound of Metal.
That's an amazing movie. Check
Very
out
good
Sound
No.
of Metal.
Oh, Hillbilly Elegy. That's the only
Ew,
one I saw.
why?
That's like the worst movie.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
On this
Is it? I read
list.
the book. The book was good, but
Hillbilly Elegy wasn't even nominated for Best Picture. Just
Glenn
I see it.
Close 0 for 8 now on nominations.
oh no, it was. Yeah, it was Best Supporting Actress. That's the only thing it
Yeah.
was nominated for.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And she
I didn't
didn't
see
win.
anything else.
No.
Tough.
Glenn Close. That's accurate.
Yeah, she
Close,
gets close
no cigar.
all the time. Glenn Close will
That's
never
8. I think
get.
that's 8 nominations.
That's 8. She's 0 and 8. She's not for 1, but nominated 8 times. Anybody else want to show? John, what else? Well, what else are you watching? Did you see anything cool?
John watches old movies that he's seen 10 times.
Yeah, last Sunday I was. When I do artwork, I don't want to watch something. I want to pay attention to. So I put on Under Siege with Steven Seagal because I knew
that's a great one.
I know I'd only turn my head up for like a few choice scenes, and
Is that the one where the playmate gets naked?
yeah,
Erica
Yeah.
Eleniak.
that's one of the scenes I made sure to watch. I was like, "Holy Jesus, God, that's perfection!" So that was one of the scenes I watched.
Right on.
You made John Bellotti come back just to not tell us anything?
Just for that. No, I don't
That's
know.
why I was like, "What am I going to really say?" I just
Well-
I've watched. In the past year, I've watched everything I could possibly think of. I started watching The Boys.
Oh, good.
Finally, we watched like 2 episodes. We'll get back into it again.
All right. Well, look, unless anybody has anything else they want to shout out, we'll wrap it up here.
No, I wanted to hear Ruggs' thoughts on the movies he's seen.
Oh, well, okay. Bellotti can leave. Bellotti, you
Yep.
don't have to stick around.
All right.
Tell the people what.
Now,
Give out your plugs real quick. What do you want people to do?
they can find me on Instagram at Robo7, ROBOSEVEN. They can also find me on Facebook at Robo7Art. And Twitter, it's Bellotti, and that line that it's like kind of low, and then John. I don't know what you call that line.
Underscore.
Underscore, yes, thank you. You can tell I don't work with computers all day.
Well, hey, Bellotti, for someone who's just heard you for the first time, what are they going to find over there on Instagram?
They're going to find all my artwork that I do, like a little bit of Godzilla art.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. But I do have an announcement. I am an officially licensed artist for the movie Aliens. Did I tell you guys this?
Whoa.
So last
that mean?
year, I'm sorry, I should have started with this.
Yeah, no shit.
I caught wind of a publishing company called Printed in Blood.
Yeah.
And they've done licensed books of Stranger Things, The Thing. They're doing Hannibal. And they said, we have a Halloween book coming out. So I was like, oh my God, let me try to get into it. So I didn't get into that. Apparently, they had like 400 submissions and the studio got involved and only wanted 200. And my guess is that the same 200 artists that the 200 artists that got in all submitted the same exact thing because you can only show so much from the first Halloween movie that I think they just had so much of the same thing that they were like, what's the point? But I made it into Aliens. And what that means is that it's an officially licensed piece of artwork from Fox, now Disney.
Wow.
And I can sell it however I want because it's licensed. And every time the studio uses it, I get paid for it. and it's going to be published in this book, and it's coming out, I think, this year. I think it's later in the year.
Holy shit, that's fantastic.
Congratulations,
yeah,
bud.
Thank
that's
you.
amazing.
Wow. You work for the
It's-
man now.
Yeah,
Well,
officially.
let's see what happens. I thought it was going to be a Godzilla. That would be my first licensed work. And I'm kind of okay with it being Aliens because it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I think it would kill Aliens illustrations. It's a nice little...
Yeah, not allowed to share it until the book comes out, but I'll make sure you guys see it, and I'll put up like the pre-orders and stuff.
Right on.
in the Jock and Nerd Nation.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. Very cool.
Yeah, so I thought I've been making Facebook posts about it, but I guess I didn't tell you guys. So there you go. But it's called Printed in Blood. You can find them on Twitter. They're very active. You can find them on Twitter and Instagram.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Bye, Bellotti.
Bye, guys. Love you
Thanks
all.
for stopping by.
Of course.
We did it
Bye.
live. We said goodbye live on the show. We've never done that
We've never done that before. We've never said bye to someone on the show.
No.
Bruggs, what did you watch this week?
I watched The Sound of Metal.
Oh, you did watch Sound of Metal. Nice.
And I watched Promising Young
Oh,
Woman.
We need your quick thoughts on both. What did you like better?
Oh, no. I don't know. I like them both.
Okay.
They were both good. Promising Young Woman was interesting, but I knew where it was going the whole time.
Well, you did.
And I was like this. This is what happened. I was like, oh, she's going to clubs.
I'll just do that. Go ahead.
She's going to clubs, getting drunk, and then pretty much just playing along and getting herself into situations, and so she can fuck with guys.
Was she killing them? It was unclear to me.
I think she was like if
Some
you know
of
in that list where if she writes them in red, I think she kills them.
Oh shit! And some of them
Yeah.
she's just scaring the fuck out of.
Right. Some of them, if they don't
Yeah.
cross the line too much, she just scares them.
Okay,
lets
because
them
I
live,
thought she
yeah.
had blood on her after one of those meetings at one point. I was like,
Yeah.
is she fucking killing them? Okay.
So I was like, oh, there's not going to be one sympathetic guy. This is I made a pact to myself while I was watching this. There's not going to be one sympathetic
You were
guy
right.
in
You
this movie.
you nailed that.
I'm like, there is no case where a guy is good. in
Even the
this movie.
sympathetic guy ended up being not the sympathetic guy.
Yeah, so I was right, and I was like, I wish I was wrong about that. And I was like, I wish I was wrong. I'm like, okay, but that's the only thing I didn't like about that movie. But everything else was actually pretty cool.
I didn't see that ending coming. That was fucking shocking to me.
I thought I didn't know what her plan was. Like she was just gonna write she was gonna kill him.
I guess.
I think she was going to actually let him live, but write that person's name. I forgot the person's names in his chest so that he could always.
Oh, she was
remember.
she was gonna carve his name. Yeah, and then
I don't think that would have been enough to be. Her character doesn't fit. But like I don't know.
But then I
feel like I feel like she knew that she was gonna try and get him.
Well, she had
Well,
a
she definitely-
contingency,
she had
which was
the plan at the end.
that was amazing. Her fucking contingency play was fantastic.
Yeah. So
What do you think of the shifts in tone?
I was fine with everything. I mean, I liked it all. I think it was nicely done, well done. I just, for some reason, I was like, oh, I knew it from the first scene. After I was like, oh, geez, there's not going to be one sympathetic male character in this movie, and it's going to be all about how like every guy sucks. And I'm like, all right, cool, but let's see how good they do it.
Yeah.
And they did it
They
really
did it
well. So
well.
I liked it.
It's well paced.
I'm like, so even if I'm like kind of like
Disagreeing with the
confused
premise,
by
maybe?
yeah, not disagreeing, but like I was like, yeah, that's like way too predictable. You know,
I mean, that's the point, though. It's one sided, but that's kind of the point of the movie message.
which is fine. It's fine. So I still I enjoyed it, and it was a fun movie. Is it the best thing I've seen all year? No. Sound of Metal, I liked a lot because it did move slow in parts, and it was kind of like very matter of fact, which I liked. And I thought all the performances were very good. And I liked how they kind of came to a resolution and I thought it was kind of brilliant, where he's in bed with her and he's talking about, let's go back on tour. And he's kind of got this thing that he's holding on to. He's trying to cling on to this life that they had, before things went wrong with his hearing.
Yeah.
And he sees her scratching. And then immediately he makes that distinction. He's like, oh shit, like, this is our relationship is fucking her up, and she's happy, and I got to recognize that. So him recognizing
he's got to let her go,
that, and then like a few scenes later, him kind of going into the stillness his friend was talking to.
Yeah,
about his
Paul
sponsor,
Racy's
whatever
character. Paul Racy
was talking about. I thought that was kind of cool, but I think overall, I like the Sound of Metal just a scotch more. Because I felt like all the characters were well rounded. Like you had, what was the name? Ruben, his name?
Riz Ahmed was Ruben.
Yeah, so Ruben is like very like he didn't accept his condition, right? He rejected it outright, and he was always kind of like sleepwalking through this thing, and he was failing to learn about like accepting when you have an issue instead, and just kind of moving on in a natural way and not trying to like escape from it.
Right. Or fix it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But live with it. And it's kind of offensive. I mean, I thought that was interesting how he like offends the hard of hearing community with the decision he makes.
But I don't begrudge him for
trying it.
For trying.
It did win Best Film Editing, Best Sound Oscar.
I like the line
night.
where they showed it in the clip, but it was like when Paul Racy's talking to him, and he's like, something along the lines of like, I don't know what you're going through, but the way you sound is like I'm fucking doing sign language like I know sign language right now.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
But he's like, the way you sound is like an addict to me.
Yeah.
And it was like, like Ruben's character, even if he's not away from like the things that you would normally determine as an addict, like drugs and all that, he still has this addictive behavior of like getting back to this and like I need to scramble some money, and if I just do this one thing, everything will be fine.
Yeah,
type thing.
Chasing the thing that you never get.
Right.
To me, the most fucking frightening moment in that movie is when he does put that fucking implant in, and you hear it for the first time. You're like, oh my god! If I had my hearing was that all the time, I would just, I don't know what I do. I don't think I could live with it. We live with it. It was fucking.
I didn't know that it sounded
horrifying.
like that.
Right in your head, it sounds like staticky.
We don't really
radio.
actually know what it sounds like.
Right.
That's just an estimation of what it could sound like.
It's a vibration in your head. But I thought they did an amazing job of putting you in his shoes and making you feel what he was going through.
Yeah, I feel like I understand things a little bit more from watching the film.
Yep. Yeah, they're both good.
So I feel like I learned something. I didn't really learn anything from Promising Young Woman other than, there's
don't fuck with drug
party.
girls outside. You don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. You got to be careful, fellas.
What was cool about Promising Young Woman is it's not like a typical Oscar film.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice little different flavor. When I watched it, I was like, this reminds me of like when Get Out got popular and like made it, or even like not to as good of an extent, but Parasite, like movies like that where it's like a wild shifts in tone, and it's like not necessarily what you would put up as like one of these hoity-toity films.
And it's like comedy and drama and suspense and like all these genres put
and
together.
And it's like, I was sitting there like, I'm like white knuckling. I'm like, this is kind of horror. Like, is she gonna carve her? Are we gonna see her carve her name?
And then the fucking what happens? I was like, holy.
And then he's sitting on her with a pillow, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Fuck. Nomadland, also interesting enough, the least revenue generating movie out of all of them. The lowest box office it had.
Well,
and
pandemic.
So yeah. Well, okay, good stuff. Lots of good Oscar movie talk. Everyone, go see Sound of Metal. It's on Amazon. It's fucking phenomenal. And Ruggs, where can the listener find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ReallyRugBoy.
Give him a follow, give him a like, give him a poke. Thanks for listening.
Let me plug next week's show.
Yeah, what are we doing?
We're going to review Invincible.
Oh, shit. Does it end next week? Is one more episode? It ends this week. Okay, so there's only 8?
8.
Oh, that last episode was fucking bonkers.
Yeah, Invincible is my shit.
Okay.
I love Invincible.
Okay,
so I can't wait to review it next week.
One more episode and all the shit is coming to a head. I can't wait to see what happens. Also, I was watching that For All Mankind, Apple TV Plus. The second season ended. Catch up on that. That is how you do 10 episodes of TV with a big arc and mini arcs and everything connects and characters evolve. Oh my God. So fucking good, Ruggs. Such a good show. Thanks for listening. Share this show with a friend listener. Thanks for listening, Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the Nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
This is crazy. I fucking loved it.
I'm very tired of the Tom Brady dick suck fest.
Let me tell you about Tony, all right? Tony ruins lives.